everyone, I am Brad Ellis. Welcome to Frame Trap. I am joined by my co-host, as always, Michael Damiani, via remote internets. That's right.
What's up? How's it going?
And we got Daniel Bloodworth.
Yo, filling in last second.
Filling
Here
in
I am.
last second. And we got Ben Starr, the legend, our UK correspondent. He's here.
Reporting in
He's
for
reporting
duty.
in.
London's fine, everyone. London's fine.
Nice.
How's the weather been here compared? Has it been nice?
I've had the weirdest transition to this weather. So it's London, it's freezing cold, and then I've just been in Toronto where it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
And then this is the weird. I've never been in a country where it is so hot and playing Christmas.
Yeah.
I kind of find it a bit like sarcastic. Like,
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, guys? This isn't Christmas. And everywhere's got the Christmas trees, and like every time I get in the lift in my hotel, it's playing Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
And part of me just go, "You're taking the piss, guys."
Yeah. We do what we can, you know?
I love it. Like,
The temperatures have actually been cooler for the past week
Cooler,
or so,
but
but
today's been
today it
warmer.
went back up to the 80s, yeah.
yeah, it's not Christmas. I refuse to accept that it's
Yeah.
Christmas.
It's not a London Christmas for sure.
I'm gonna go back to like it's so lovely in London right now. Like, I love this kind of like crisp, almost like unbearably cold temperature, but it's just very clean. Yeah, and it's kind of my favorite time of year.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I mean, it gets crisp here, but nowhere that crisp.
No,
We're like an ice cube. You're probably like an igloo crisp.
No, there's no ice cube here. This is absolutely scorching right now. This is like this. Your winter is like the hottest British summer you could
Yeah.
possibly have.
Yeah. It's wild. We live in a wild state. All right. Before we get into everything, though, please check us out on patreon.com/easyallies if you want to support us and the crew going forward. We greatly appreciate it. Also, before we get into it, today we announced that I am leaving Easy Allies. However, there will be one more Frame Trap after this. Episode 200 will be the final Frame Trap. We're going to try to get some nice guests on there. So just, look forward to that. Please be excited.
Guys, I'm right here. What? I'm a nice guest.
You're a nice guest.
I'm a nice
You are a
guest.
nice guest.
Thank you so much.
I would say you're the top tier guest. The
Thank
best
you.
guest we've ever had on the show.
Oh my god! Wow!
say.
That's really insulting to the people who are going to be there next time.
They would understand.
Yeah. Okay.
And then if you're curious about after that, basically Frame Trap is going to get bundled into the main podcast.
That's
so the
right.
format's going to change in the new year.
Yeah, we've been
We
kind of
still have to shoot the 3 last episodes
Oh my
of the
God, yeah.
podcast.
That's going to be a
next
day.
week.
That's going to be a day, yeah. But you've been kind of toying with that, bringing it into the podcast with game impressions. So more stuff like that will continue on. So it'll be good. Ben,
Yes.
I heard you're a D&D nerd.
I'm a D&D nerd now, aren't I?
Yeah.
That's me. Reinvented myself in the past 6 months.
That's right.
I've gone from liking video games to liking
D&D.
D&D. So thank you, first of all, for the shout-out a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We crowdfunded our D&D campaign, we're called Natural Six.
Great name.
It's a good name.
It is.
We had a WhatsApp. If you'd seen, I imagine in the next year or so, we'll release all the names we didn't call ourselves, and they are like the ramblings of people who are going more and more insane.
Yeah.
But it was this moment where I think Harry McIntyre just said, who's our DM, he just went, "What about Natural Six?" He hadn't really said much about a name, and the first one he said, we were like, "Yes, Harry, that's perfect."
Yeah.
And it's at all stages, because it's been just a really collaborative process with everyone, because all 6 of us are very creative in our own ways. It's been those wonderful moments of synergy where someone just says something and we all just know it's right. And each stage, like coming up with the logo, like coming up with the theme music and everything has just been this really, really rewarding process with people who are so creative, and every day we've got this very, very active WhatsApp group. There's just something new happening, and it's like it's a lot, but I mean even now I go away from my phone, it's like 60 messages about something. But because that's what you get with creative people, but we haven't really had any of that friction that you'd imagine there to be, because everyone brings something in their own kind of Venn diagram of specialities to create something, and it's really, really fun.
Who are some of the people you're playing with? Some pretty big names on there.
Yeah, there's me, so it's a huge name.
Huge name.
Everyone's just going, it's just me playing with myself.
Yeah.
There you go. Clip that for the internet. It's me. Our DM is the incredible Harry McIntyre, who is, for those who don't know his work, he is the voice of Noah in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. He is...
Damiani's nodding in approval.
Not only is he an amazing performer, his DM skills are really, really pretty impressive. Like his ability to kind of conjure up drama and be funny and witty, and he's created this world called Reliquiae. In our first meeting, he just turned up with just pages and went, "This is what it was," and he had like ancient texts that he'd written from, and it was like, "Oh, we are so in." And he actually just delivered us like another massive document, another lore document for us to kind of talking about where the races come from, how we all feel about each other. It's just we're going deep. So there's Harry, who's just really, really brilliant. There's me. There's Aoife Wilson from Eurogamer, who is, again, a massive D&D nerd. Spends most of her time doing DMing, so she's kind of so she's kind of playing a very fun bard, which is great. Holly Bennett, who works at Frontier now, used to work at CD Projekt Red, and now and before that PlayStation Access.
Yeah,
she's great. She plays a fighter called Indelian who just loves to swing the sword and smash things up. We did a show at EGX, and she got to do the killing by smashing someone to pieces. She's super fun. And then we've got Doug Cockle, who's Geralt of Rivia.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So he plays a dragonborn druid.
So good.
Called Kelnis. And it's the best voice for a dragonborn druid.
His voice, incredible.
And then the final piece of the puzzle is Alex Jordan, who plays, I think, everyone's fan favorite character right now. He's a kobold rogue called I, just I, and he is Mr. Hands in Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. He makes all the sex noises in Baldur's Gate 3, and has this, and also he's. If you want to check out a game that looks absolutely sick, there's a game called The Altars, which they've just announced, where there's a guy who's like playing. There's like Alex has to play.
Is he the VO for that? Then?
He plays all the different characters in it, and he's working hard at it right now. And he's just
that's nuts.
And everyone in the group is so talented and brings all their different skills.
That's a straight up Orphan Black role, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Even in the trailer, he's doing like 7 or 8 different voices, and I think there are more characters to come. It's like the role that all actors both dream and dread at the same time.
Yeah.
But he's a wonderful person, but he's also an incredibly versatile actor, and I can't wait to see The Altars. So and that's us, and we got funded. And we're going to hopefully start recording very early on in the new year.
Yeah, you have an episode 0, right?
We have an episode 0. We've got an episode where we roll our characters, and I can tell you, Doug Cockle, Geralt of Rivia, Kelnis the Dragonborn Druid is so overpowered. He never has a man rolled dice so well for such a very specific period of time.
He's like our Huber.
Yeah, but we did a show at EGX live, and even though he is by far the most powerful character, he still was the only character not able to convince someone to go up some stairs. So he was just stuck at the bottom of the stairs whilst everyone else was having some fun. So that's D&D for you.
That is funny.
So we've got rolling characters. We've got our session 0, in which we kind of have that moment where our characters meet, and then we've got our EGX live episode, which even though we hadn't rolled a dice in front of anyone, we filled out the thing, so it was a very surreal
that's
experience.
Awesome.
Nice.
Damn.
We've got an amazing theme tune by Alex Mukala.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing. And Alex is a huge D&D fan as well, and so we kind of worked out what we wanted it to be. He sat down with Harry and they discussed for hours like the lore of the world, and then Alex went away and just created this insanely epic theme tune.
What class are you? What's your character?
I'm a wood elf wizard.
Oh, okay.
I'm this very kind of like structurally beautiful but horrifically scarred wizard who's lost his memory. And so I really loved the idea of what would happen when a wizard who kind of they have their spell book, right? They're known for like intelligence, but what happens when you have a wizard who doesn't have that intelligence? They have that intelligence, but they don't know who they are, and so kind of exploring that is always going to be really difficult.
Sweet.
When I said that to Harry, he went, that's really hard, Ben. Yes, I'm going to give you problems, Harry. But I can't remember who said it in the group. I think it might have been Alex. Like none of us really have the right to have the amount of chemistry that we have. You know, like we shouldn't be getting on as well as we do. And it's just been a really, really fun, rewarding experience, and it's a thrill to do it every single time. And again, Reliquia is this amazing world. It's a verdant crater that it's like with these impassable mountains called the Alanites. And so it's like, what would happen if all of humanity was in this period of peace? And we are members of the Web, which is a secret organization in which you basically pay with money or you pay with time to get out of. And so we pay with time, and so we go and we do assassinations, and it's this conceit to put us all together to start doing some seedy stuff before it's all going to kick off.
Damn. Deep lore.
Deep lore. Deep lore.
When we played, Ben Moore had deep lore, but unfortunately we would just fuck it up every time and just ruin all of his plans.
Yeah. My character in session 0 decides to just go up and try and hypnotize a basilisk, and it doesn't go well.
That's awesome.
It's just like the confidence of a wizard without any memory to just go up and try and hypnotize a basilisk, and it just did not work at all.
That is good.
But Harry's been he's so great at yes-anding with everything. It's never a no. It's like, how can we explore whatever the outcome in a positive way that moves the story forward?
Yeah.
And he is such a student of D&D, as well as being a huge fan of it. And it's just, all of us, it's a dream come true to be able to kind of take what we love doing and explore it in a different way.
Yeah. Check it out, everybody. YouTube, just Natural Six?
We've got a YouTube channel in which we've got our stuff which we recorded before the Kickstarter, and then we're going to start doing some kind of like pre-streams on Twitch to try and give people updates on where we're at before we kind of do our first couple of episodes in the
cool.
Q1, shall we say, or whatever you want it to be.
Excellent.
Nice.
Sounds good. All right, Ben, here's a random question for you.
Yeah.
Here's a quick question for him, and every FF8 fan must answer. Who's going to Balm Garden with Squall, and who's going to the missile base with Selphie?
Can I ask what your answer would be?
Yes. So I believe the last time I did with Squall, I did Zell and Renoa to the school. Because, Zell and Squall, they're boys at the beginning of school. And Renoa got the relationship. And with...
is it just the shipping? That's the reason you're sending them together?
With Renoa and Squall, kind of,
yeah.
But I love Zell and Squall together, too.
Yeah.
And for the... with, Selphie and Missile Base, I think I sent Irvine.
Yep.
Because he's awesome. He's a cowboy.
Yeah.
And I think Quistis.
Interesting.
It's been a long time since I played it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Quistis is my girl. And originally Renoa was, I named Renoa after this girl that I was in love with at school.
Dude, that's so awesome.
Yeah. I'll shout her out now. Claire Davies, she's married now, but back in the day I was in love with Claire. So Renoa was called Claire. But now as I've got older, Quistis I think is the character who resonates more with me. And so not that I'm saying I ship them, but there's just something really interesting about her as a character and
totally.
As I've kind of not aged out of Renoa, as you can say, but obviously the great thing about 8 is it is the love story between Squall and Renoa. It's front and center.
Right.
I mean, even Uematsu said he didn't write individual themes. He wrote about romantic. He wrote about the. He didn't have individual themes for each character. It was about the sense and emotion of the whole thing. And front and center, you have that relationship, which is just really, really cool. Yeah. But I don't think that's an incorrect. Setup. I got asked that at the weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got asked that exact thing.
Oh, that's funny.
That's why I asked you. I was like, what do you think that? And I think that person who asked me, I asked them the same thing, and they said exactly the same that you did.
Oh, really? That's funny.
I think you're more mainstream than you think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
That's fine.
I played 8 a long time ago. I can't remember.
You were mainstream back then. You were so mainstream.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Damiani, do you remember what you did?
I don't, because I never did it.
Oh, you haven't played 8?
Oh.
I mean, no, I haven't done it. So 8 is on my list of Final Fantasy to play through, as we'll get through later.
Yes, you've been doing work, Damiani. Yeah.
You've been doing work. I have, but it was 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah,
maybe
a
more.
long time ago.
Yeah.
I've been having a fun dialogue with this game and the Final Fantasy fans. Like, there are people who are now playing it because I wore a T-shirt to the Golden Joysticks.
Yeah, you're selling it hard.
And I'm not intentionally doing it. It's kind of turned into a bit of a game, but like I just keep getting asked what my favorite one is, and it is just 8 because of the nostalgia and the feels. And I don't expect people to play Final Fantasy 8 now and to fall in love with it. You know, I think that it's not one of these games that I could confidently say, oh my God, you're going to absolutely adore the way the game is.
Yeah.
But it's just, for me, the power of what that game gave to me is I wouldn't be playing games in the same way that I do now if it wasn't for that game.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I like celebrating it. But I am intrigued by people who play it for the first. Also, it just wasn't available to play for such a long time.
Yeah, it was harder to play.
Yeah, and like the whole. It's kind of a shame, really. The whole best-looking guy here thing is completely ruined because he actually does look good.
He looks good now. The new version.
Annoying.
Yeah.
Damiano, I would be really interested to see what you think of it as a game, because as I keep getting told, there are many flaws to it, but I still always. People are still like, Ben, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I really like it. It's a cool game.
Damiani is the kind of person though who likes to break the rules.
Oh, dude.
And
you
find
can
the like easy. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh,
it's like he'll find the easiest way to accomplish things.
Well, you can overpower yourself even before you go to the fire cave. You can.
Yeah.
There are, I'd say, about 5 or 6 ways in which you can just completely break the game in the first.
Yeah.
Hour.
I think it's interesting you can do that.
I really like it. I really like that you can do that because also the game kind of cheats you in a way. You level up, it levels up with you.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's asking you to figure out ways in which you can kind of like cheat it. And then, there's a boss towards the end of the game, a mega weapon, which does an attack which will kill you if you are level 100 because it does an attack with death. So it's basically anything divisible by 5. So it does an attack which will decimate you. So it's saying don't be level 100 when you fight a mega weapon. And it's constantly trying to... It's not like Inscription, but a bit like Inscription insofar it's asking you to cheat it or find intelligent ways.
Yeah. It definitely asks you to experiment in that way, which is interesting.
Yeah. And it also has one of the best mini games in Final Fantasy history.
Triple Triad?
Triple Triad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I just don't like the draw system. I don't like drawing magic.
No. But also it doesn't incentivize... The argument people say is that it doesn't incentivize you to use magic because if you draw the magic, you want to keep it for yourself.
Keep it, yeah. All right, so yesterday, no big deal, just some Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer dropped. A lot of us reacted to it, but I want to know what all you guys think because none of you were there.
Right.
Damiani, did you see the trailer?
Oh, yeah, I watched the trailer.
Let's start with you.
I think visually it looks better than I thought it was going to look. I mean, I don't know why. In my weird mind, I thought it was just going to be HDified GTA 5 or something. like even more like remastered looking, but it looked way different than I thought it was going to look. So that's pretty impressive for an open world game to have that level of, the faces looked really good. The amount of stuff going on screen, like characters and like animations, like everyone's interacting. As long as that's like how gameplay is, that there's that many people around, that's going to be pretty insane. And scale. I mean, obviously they love to show those nice shots, showing you like the wide shots, and trying to piece it together in my head compared to San Andreas. I'm just thinking, man, this is probably going to be a good deal bigger than GTA 5 in terms of its map size, which is pretty insane. So from a technical standpoint, very cool. And stylistically, this is the type of trailer you expect for the reveal of a GTA. Like the Tom Petty music, like the shots they picked. Also, definitely was pushing, a different kind of like culture vibe with it. Like showing like the TikTok stuff and like having like your chat on. I was like, okay, they are definitely tapping into, some modern, pop culture stuff. And that's their thing. Also, just kind of showing you early on, we're going to push some boundaries probably with this game. They like to poke fun at a lot of stuff, and this trailer pretty much hinted they're not backing off on that type of stuff as well. So it was pretty much, what I expected, just looked better, and and I appreciate that. But obviously, got a lot of like questions. It's like, how does this play? I am not the biggest fan of Rockstar's gameplay, like mechanics. I feel like it's fun. The design is very fun. I like messing around in their open worlds. But when it comes to like running, gunning, punching, like it's fun for a little bit, and then it gets old, and then it doesn't feel great after like a few hours. And that's kind of where I'm hoping they want to prove naysayers wrong. Like, nah, you're gonna like this is gonna be good too. Like we're like overhauling everything with this one.
Yeah, for sure. Blood, as a Florida man, how are you feeling about it?
Well, it's funny because I'm just like fully checked out on GTA whatsoever, but yeah, I think like what Damiani was saying, there's a lot in there in terms of the crowd density and the characters and stuff that you see that like it reminds me a lot of Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And some of the first times that we saw Cyberpunk, and so I could really see that like no, this is achievable. Like I think that Rockstar can do this and really make that work.
Yeah.
And I think what's funny is I like you guys watched that thing 100 times.
Yes.
But I only like watched it through the one time.
Fake fan.
Fake
gamer.
I think I'll have to look again, but I think the alligator thing.
We all called you out.
They were like a little over the top on these gators, and it looked a little on the cartoony side. But
Yeah.
Have you done that in real life?
Done what?
Pulled
Gator stuff? Well, there's been gators in your yard.
Have you pulled
said.
an alligator out of your pool?
No. But I had.
You would though.
Yeah.
No, I would. You would call somebody. But
Don't do yourself down. I back you to pull that alligator out of the pool.
we had a pond in the backyard that had alligators in it, but alligators generally, unless somebody's been feeding them or something, they just want to stay away from.
Well, you
people.
had your own alligators in a pool.
Well, they weren't ours, but there was
You
a pond.
stole the alligators?
They were there. They lived there.
Sorry, I'm teasing. I'm teasing you.
But yeah, like coming into shops and stuff like that, like it would happen in a rare instance or something, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto always ramps everything up to an extent.
Mm.
So it makes sense to me.
And but being by Miami too, there could potentially be crocodiles because there are crocodiles down that way too.
Look out for that. What do you think, Ben?
What did I think? I think it looked exactly like I thought the trailer was going to look. It's they have a style. They have a consistent style as they go. I mean, it's almost the identical like cinematic setup to GTA 5, right? And you had Michael saying a very kind of like similar thing. How did we end up in this situation? Kind of vibe, you know. And then they show you these lush vistas. I think everyone was blown away by the graphical fidelity, which is surprising considering how.
Don't forget, they also show mudding.
Mud?
Yeah, they showed mud.
Guys mudding.
Oh, is that what it's called? Like partying out in the mud?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Mudding.
Yeah, we do that in London all the time. Excuse me, would you like to go and do some mudding? Me and the boys are going to go mudding down the pub.
Go out into the cars and like spin the tires. Get a huge rooster tail.
But I think that look, the graphical fidelity of Red Dead Redemption 2, we don't give enough credit for. I mean, maybe we do, but like that is a PlayStation 4 game that looks the way that it does. So the idea that we were surprised by GTA having that plus. Like, you still look at Arthur Morgan and go, that is, the expressions on that face are amazing. So, of course, like, years and years on, the tech is going to have moved. And this isn't coming until late 2025. Got to be, right? Like, they've got a lot of time to perfect this. Yeah, it was a good trailer. I saw it on the plane. I landed, and obviously it was a shame that it leaked.
Yeah.
Like, leakers can boo to you. It's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame. Don't ruin it for everyone else. Like, but I mean, at least you didn't have to get up at 6 a.m. to watch it. But it was a shame. People worked really hard for that beat. People make these games. It's like, don't do that. But we all got to see it. It looked great. As we know, like, games are not films. We want to know how it plays. We want to know how it feels. But take your time, make it good. I see people being upset that it's going to be 2025. I mean, part of me was thinking 2025. Then why did you release the trailer now? Why did you release the trailer in this moment when it's not going to be ready until 2025? And a part of me is thinking, I reckon they knew that someone was going to leak it. I just think them getting ahead of it because they don't need to share the beat with anyone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been leaked already, so yeah.
Maybe it'll be early 2025. Could be.
But also, who cares? Like, I see people getting angry about it, but it's
Yeah,
like
I was surprised, but
I think this is like the typical December thing, Ben, where it's like 2025. Oh, that's so far away, and it's like, no, it's a year away.
yeah, you're right.
You're just like now coming to terms with 2025 is around the corner.
I'm gonna have to reckon with that. Yeah, it's really, really scary. But it looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to playing it. I think that Grand Theft Auto it's amazing how there's the video game industry and then there's Grand Theft Auto. The size of what that game has achieved, it kind of transcends in pop culture anything that kind of exists in the video game world.
Yep.
People. It's the opportunity for video games to become the central focus of the discourse in popular culture, and it will be impossible not to, for better or for worse. I'm looking forward to people getting very upset about it for no reason, but it's ROI up the wazoo. Everyone's going to want to be doing it, reacting to it. It's an opportunity for the games industry to also temporarily try and fix itself a little bit, right? Because it's like all the traffic's going to go up. It's all going to be about Grand Theft Auto. It's the thing that might come in and save it a little bit. But
sure.
It looks good. I look forward to playing it.
Yeah.
I will play it day one, and can't wait.
Yeah, it has a weird effect on people, like Michael Huber, who it's like a fever on him, where he's like talking to strangers about it, like at the supermarket, and they're telling him to relax. Like this actually happens.
Yeah.
He called me and just said GTA 6 to me like 3 times, and that was it. That was the entire conversation.
The hype. I think it shows you like how powerful how important this franchise is to people. Because I would say the trailer's good. This is a good trailer. It's not the hypest hype trailer, but the power that game has over people.
Yeah.
If you love it, what an amazing showing of what that game's going to be. And it's just watching people's reaction is awesome. It's awesome because people cannot wait because how important these games have been. Like back in the PlayStation 2 era, just those halcyon days of like how much that was pushing the tech then. Of what was possible and where we are now. The compare like Vice City to that. I've seen kind of people already doing it. It's mad how far we've come.
It's crazy.
So yeah, good trailer. Would recommend Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah, would recommend. Check it out. All right. I just want to ask you guys a couple Game Award predictions. First of all, Ben nominated for the Game Awards. What are you nominated for? Tell the people out there.
I'm nominated for Best Performance.
That's right.
Yeah.
As Clive Rossfield.
Clive Rossfield in Final Fantasy 16.
That's right.
And do you want me to predict whether I'm going to win or not?
No, we don't have to do that.
No, we don't have to do
I won't make you guys pick actual who we think's going to win stuff like that.
I will say this. I've had the good fortune of basically experiencing everyone's performance in that category, and everyone's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no doubt. Everyone's super good in it.
Like whoever wins,
stacked year for sure.
It was a stacked year for every category.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's the exciting thing. Right? I think maybe this might be one of the first years. Maybe it's because I'm involved in the way that I am. That people might be more excited about to see who wins Game of the Year than actually what the announcements are.
Sure.
Because people want to know, is it going to be Alan Wake 2? Is it going to be Baldur's Gate 3? Is it going to be Tears of the Kingdom? It's like it's interesting now.
Yeah. So we all know Keely likes to do, some game announcements and all that kind of stuff there. Definitely just want to hear what you guys think. What you think Keely might show. Obviously, I'm thinking this is probably very obvious is Elden Ring DLC. I think they'll finally show it.
I think that's a safe
I think it might be further away than people realize, maybe.
I do think that's true as well.
Yeah.
But I think, this is a place where we could see
I
it.
think
Do you think that's the closer?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I think it has
it'll be
caliber.
a real full, not a real, but like a full game, not just an expansion.
Yeah, to me that's caliber, But obviously there's one more other one I feel like is a lock, which is Death Stranding 2.
Yeah.
Keely, Kojima, they're best bros. We haven't seen Death Stranding 2 in a while. It's time to show that puppy off a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find out more about what it is actually. You remember how long we were like, what is Death Stranding? We were just like, what is this game?
I think that was the case until it came out. People were still not sure what it was.
I dedicated my entire life to Death Stranding. I built an entire motorway.
Oh my God.
I loved it. I would say that's more like motorway build or freeway builder simulator for me.
Dude,
I loved
we
it.
did so
I was
much.
doing it for the likes. Like I was coming back and seeing like how many likes my
It was
freeway
so fun,
got.
dude.
I loved it. I was so proud, and especially when you're making my zip lines through the mountains. Like what a weird and wonderful game that is.
It was so fun.
If you put in what you, I got so much out of it because of what I put into it.
Yep.
And it asked a lot of you, you know. But like as soon as you realize, I'm like, oh, I'm making really good transportation systems around this world. It was really fun.
I loved it. I thought it was super fun. Damiani, do you have any predictions what they'll show? Maybe some Nintendo.
I don't know about Nintendo. I mean, they could have something there, but I honestly think we're in the phase where Nintendo is probably gearing up for Switch successor in 2024. And so I think if they have any announcement, it would just be something, you know, not too high profile. So I don't expect like something really big there. It's kind of sad that we don't have like more Smash Brothers fighters to be announced, because that was kind of like the annual tradition was Keely's come around and we get a new fighter for Smash Brothers revealed, and they're pretty good. So maybe that tradition will continue if some new Smash Brothers comes out on Switch 2 at some point. But honestly, don't think we're gonna get anything that big from Nintendo. I honestly think maybe we could see another trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yep.
We could see Vincent in action because you know they had the big reveal of Matt Mercer doing the voice for him. So maybe it's time to, and we've only gotten like the tease of the backside of Vincent. We haven't really gotten like the full Vincent reveal yet. So that could be a nice opportunity for that. We also haven't seen Sid yet, even though we know he's not going to be a playable character. They did confirm he'd be in it, so it'd be kind of nice to get that Sid reveal, because that was part of the marketing hype for a remake, is each new character. Remember the Tifa unveiling? Like we hadn't seen Tifa yet, and they did a whole a trailer where like we get to finally see Tifa in action, how she looks and everything was like fantastic. I feel like they have to do that for Vincent. I mean, a little bit more for Vincent, but definitely for Sid. Sid's like the last big question mark. So that'd be really nice. And you mentioned like Kojima, but like going back to his old stomping grounds at Konami, maybe we get a more in-depth look at Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater remake thing.
We wouldn't know.
I don't know if Keely would allow that.
Not Keely, no way. No way.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm loving the shade that he's throwing at that game. Have you seen it? Like he's always just like giving a little jab here and there.
Yeah, he's not happy about it.
I also think the thing that they showed last time kind of gives me pause in terms of like, they're not ready to show
that game seems
yet.
Yeah. What about you?
I mean, Huber's not here, so I will bring up Silk Song.
My
the hope,
God.
keeping the Silk Song.
Shadow Drop
dream.
Silk Song is happening.
My God. All right.
Just gotta say it.
I refuse to believe that game exists until it's installed.
Oh, I mean,
we've
seen gameplay of it. I think it's the fact that it's anywhere near done. I think is like we don't have that light at the end of the tunnel. Like after Microsoft said it's coming by this date, and then it's not. Like, that was such an obvious lie. Such an obvious lie.
Blood, what do you think? What do you think we could see?
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with Damiani in that I don't think Nintendo will reveal anything, but I think that they'll probably have something in there in terms of a trailer. I'm just not 100% sure like what else.
Peach maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, Peach maybe could be a good one to have in there. And then
what about Sega? Haven't you seen this? Like this?
Sega sent out an invite that feels.
Is it like fighting game people?
It feels like it could be Virtua Fighter related.
Yeah, they did that re-release, and it did well for them on Plus, I think. So what would it be? Would it be 6 now? I can't remember how many Virtua Fighters are.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
6, 7. I can't remember. That'd be cool though.
Yeah. One of the things that since I don't know if you saw the PC gaming show they did last week. They had like this one 30-second thing where they just rattled off a bunch of games where we don't really know anything about, even though they've been announced for years. One of those was the new BioShock. And that's kind of stuck in my head now. Because it's like, they keep talking about how that's in the works.
This rumored BioShock game.
It's a good place to show it as well.
Yeah.
Because you've also got that, and also what was the
Judas?
Yeah. Which is Ken Levine's thing, not BioShock.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think Judas we actually probably won't see this year.
I think you're right.
Because I think when they showed it, it was just very early, like
I think that's a
concept,
2025 game.
visualization kind of thing. But BioShock, it's like, all right, getting about time. See something along those lines of just like set the mood kind of trailer, which is what a lot of these trailers end up being. And then I've been seeing some rumblings that like Xbox is taking the show a little bit more seriously this year.
Oh, okay.
So
really?
something on the Xbox
More
side
Hellblade,
of
maybe?
things, that would be funny.
Well, maybe it'll be like
yeah.
more like actual gameplay of it or something. I don't know.
Right. No, I was thinking
Fable?
I don't think we're going to see
that's not a
Fable
bad
for
call either. But I was thinking Gears.
Oh.
I was thinking
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
First little tease, first little set the mood.
Yeah, I think that's...
What's next for Gears?
They show it again in
Because like
summer.
the last thing was like the Gears 5 upgrade for the Series X launch. That's like
Yeah, I
3
reviewed
years
that.
ago now.
That was a while ago.
What about Gears Pop 2?
Oh.
That's what I'm predicting.
That one.
Yeah, like I think it's interesting at these awards because like in order to have these announcements, they have to be in inverted commas hype moments, right?
Yeah.
So in doing so, it implies that we have some prior knowledge to our anticipation. So it's like I liked this thing, therefore I'm going to also like this thing. Because like I'm excited about all the stuff that we can predict, we don't know about. What like really cool games from either like third parties that we've never heard of before that we're going to watch 2 minutes of,
Right.
and it's just going to go, wow, that was not on my radar until now. But I think that right now it's easy to predict because like I'm going, yeah, Gears 6, that'll be a cool thing. But like I do think he said something new and unexpected.
Yeah.
I think was that.
Okay.
And I'm like that I'm excited about, and I hope it's not. It probably will be a new and unexpected will be a franchise that we recognise that has been reimagined in a new way. That's what that says to me.
Please be Banjo-Kazooie, but not reimagined too much like the past one.
From what Phil said lately, I wouldn't be shocked if it was there, but I don't think that's happening right now. I don't think anyone's working on that right now.
Damn, dude. They just keep hurting me, man. Just let me be the bear and bird again.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I'm hoping, maybe a little early, that Final Fantasy 16 DLC. Don't say anything. I don't know if you know anything. We won't even
They would never.
acknowledge it.
They would never let me know
I know.
anything.
Yeah. It's probably a sniper rifle pointing
Yeah.
at you anyways if you did it. But I'm hoping, it might be too far, but I'm hoping we get a little taste. Damian is shaking his head in laughter.
I think, well, because they announced the 16 crossover event in 14 and they gave it a rough window, I think that's probably more likely when we will get
Oh, okay.
a DLC announcement because they like to do that kind of marketing synergy there, that
Sure.
whole synergy thing. And we still haven't seen what the 14 stuff in 16 is going to be, so I
yeah,
think they're
that's
saving
true.
it for that because I think it's related to the DLC. So sometime before, like in the next like 3 to 4 months, I would say. So probably by like April. But I think it's a little too soon, probably. So I would honestly not expect it. But I like to be pleasantly surprised. And on that one, I'd love to see the 60
Yeah, me
DLC
too.
right now.
Me too.
Bring it to me. Let's go. I'm ready.
One final one is Blood, that Capcom game.
Oh,
It's just been, talked about.
Pragmata? Is that
Pragmata?
No. The one they've been teasing that's going to sell like Monster Hunter numbers.
Oh,
That's supposed to be
yeah,
like...
Monster Hunter
somebody
World 2.
somebody had said that might have been a mistranslation.
Oh.
or something like that.
Okay.
That it may actually be a reference to Dragon's
Dogma?
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
God,
Still
it looks
wonderful.
good.
Still wonderful.
Oh my
Okay.
god. I know you probably already covered Dragon's Dogma 2, but
Yeah.
oh
Well, you can
my,
go there.
oh my, oh my,
Yeah,
my,
it
my,
looks
my,
fantastic. I'll use your pawn whenever I play.
That's a good looking video game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dragon's Dogma's good stuff.
Yeah, sorry, I don't really have anything to add other than wow, Dragon's Dogma 2. That's,
I haven't looked into that, so I don't know for sure.
Yeah, okay.
but-
Well, it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
I think that's going to surprise a lot of people. I think by the end of next
Me too.
year, Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be spoken about as big. I heard it here first. Yeah, it's going to be up there. It's going to
Like Baldur's
it?
Gate 3 level?
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
I do. I genuinely think so.
I hope so.
Like, if you're thinking about who's making this, the expertise that they have, like what they've managed to combine, and like it's got Shadow of the Colossus, it's got Monster Hunter, it's got like it looks absolute. It almost looks like an impossible video game, and maybe it is in some way. But I think it's going to be one of those games that people will say, "I haven't played Dragon's Dogma, but I'm going to play Dragon's Dogma 2." I think it really is going to change a lot of people's mind about that franchise.
Yeah, I hope so. Dragon's Dogma was awesome. And 2 looks fantastic. Okay, let's get into actually video games that we've been playing. I have been playing World of Warcraft Classic, back on the band, but there's a new thing. There's a reason I came back. There's a new version of the game called Season of Discovery. So what it is Classic WoW, okay? It only goes to level 25 right now. It's going to be released in waves. However, there are new abilities and new quests and like new raids in this version of the game now. So I'm playing as a shaman right now, and I'm finding new quests that were not in the original game, and I'm getting new abilities that were not in the original game.
This is so weird.
Yeah, so you get like they're called runes. You can get runes by doing certain quests.
WoW multiverse.
Yeah. They like slot into your gear and they give you completely new moves. And you're able to like build your characters differently than you were in the original game. Like some classes that were damage only they can heal now also. Some people that couldn't tank can tank now also. So it's just like this weird amount of flexibility given to you now, which is really fun for someone like me who played WoW the first day it came out. It's been really fun revisiting. I've been playing with a couple of my real life friends, and Ben Moore's been playing also, so it's been really sweet. Check back in there. But yeah, it's just been a super electric time because the servers, everyone's playing. It's packed right now. It's just so alive. You need to talk with people in this game to group up with them. You got to communicate a lot more now. So it's been really hitting that spot I've been missing a lot in my MMO days. It's really making me feel like a boomer in all the best ways. So I'm very pleased with that. But do you feel like this momentum's going to keep up for it? Because I've been seeing a lot of people jumping back. I don't know. It seems like WoW just kind of ups and downs with it. They seem to be doing a lot of seasonal content nowadays, so that could help. But WoW's like almost 20 years old, and it's still going. It's just like, and they just got Microsoft money, so
yeah.
I don't think it's going to stop. I think they're just going to keep adding things, especially because it's weird because it's divided into classic WoW and normal like retail WoW is also going at the same time. So it's just like this weird beast of like two separate fan bases almost for the same game. And I like both. I think they're both fun, but it's been really cool just to revisit a lot of these locations
How does that work
with new
with
twists.
the sub? Is it you just get both?
Yes, you get both. Just one sub, you get both. So it's easy. You can hop back and forth, no problem. But yeah, it's been awesome. Just like it's how simple some things are, especially because it's like 20 years old now. How simple some of the combat is. Like to start, you only have like a couple of buttons you're pushing, and that's about it. But sometimes things, if you're not careful, you can get killed pretty quickly. If you're not too careful, you can get overwhelmed. And what's really special about this version of WoW, I think, is also the world. Just exploring the world now. Because the original Azeroth, which was 2 continents, was so well designed with so many different environments. It's been really great to revisit them with new tweaks and all that kind of stuff. They also made one of this zone in the original game called Ashenvale. It's like in the lore of the game, orcs and night elves are always fighting over it for like lumber and stuff like that. They've made it now an outdoor PvP zone now also to really incentivize you to get out there more, and you can get rewards from doing it. Like you can get mounts just to ride in that area. So I've only, I'm like the level cap's 25. I think I'm 13 right now. So I'm like about halfway there, but it's just been a lot of fun, man. I'm having a really great time. It's just, I see why people continue to play this game even though it's so old. It's like old school RuneScape, it's the same vibe. People just love it.
Have they promised that they're going to update it?
Yeah, there's going to be more. So yeah, it's like phase 1 right now, which goes to level 25. Then they'll do phase 2, which is level 40. And they'll add a bunch of new stuff into that. Then it'll go to 50, then to 60. So there'll be like 4 different things.
And the new stuff they're going to add in is the old stuff.
It's new stuff in the old stuff. So it's like the old content, but they've added in some new content into that old content.
The snake is eating itself.
Exactly.
It's really ridiculous, isn't it? And also, like, I'm going, that sounds great. But what a weird place to be in where it's been around for so long that people are going back, and there'll be new players coming and experiencing it for the first time.
There are new players, it's super weird. But it's awesome, I'm glad to see people playing such a great game.
Do you think that as a result of them, and I don't know much about it, do you think with them focusing on WoW Classic, what's the state of the other game?
The other game is actually seems in a pretty decent state, and they announced 3 expansions for it going forward.
Was that the crazy demo, the crazy trailer they had the other?
Yeah, they showed some crazy stuff. Yeah, they announced 3 expansions back to back for the game, which is they've never done anything like that. So they have like a plan of purpose. They're like 2 separate teams, the WoW teams. You got the retail current stuff and you get the classic teams. So they got people working on it.
Yeah, when they went to BlizzCon, there's like, here's our 10-year plan.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. It was wild. But yeah, I'm having a really good time playing it. I can't wait to play more and check out that new raid that they added. Hopefully I'll get to do it with Ben and some of my friends. Like Huber's going to play too.
Nice.
We just got to get around to it. Michael Damiani, though, Final Fantasy 3 and 5. You've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy. Yes, the Pixel remasters.
Heck yeah.
Let's start with 3.
He just lost his headphones. Hang on.
Yeah. Let's start with 3, Damiani.
Yeah, I gotta fix that. Sure, I can start with 3. I did want to say real quick on the WoW thing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know about that season of Discovery stuff. I think I heard that phrase, but I didn't understand what it was before. Just want to say I really like the idea of just messing around with old content and just being chaotic with it. Like, this isn't how it was before. We're gonna give you different abilities that your job shouldn't have even had. Like, and it's like its own separate thing, so it doesn't impact the main game. It's like separate from that. I love that idea, and I wish other MMOs would do the same thing. So that actually I mean, I don't know how, I mean, you seem to be enjoying it, and I assume like future updates will, hopefully be as good. So I that's a really cool idea that I wish others would be a little bit more receptive to. And one last thing, I forgot during our Keeley thing, we didn't talk about any like movie or video game like TV show stuff that would be there. That Sonic 3 live action or the trailer, absolutely, Keeley's got it. We're gonna see Shadow. We're seeing Shadow in action.
Yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog. Is he gonna have the gun?
That could be the Sega thing, maybe.
That would be very funny if that was the Sega thing.
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy 3 and 5 are 2 Final Fantasy games I never finished and didn't really play much of in the past. And there are obviously a lot of Final Fantasy games in this series, and I haven't had the pleasure of playing through all of them. I tried playing Final Fantasy 3's remake on the DS for a little bit. Did not like it at all, so kind of bailed on it. And Final Fantasy 5 I had played up until the part where you go to the other world. There's 2 planets, and I went to the other planet, and I didn't remember getting very far after that. I just remember the battle on the big bridge because of Gilgamesh, aka Greg, and that music, that famous composition by now that everyone loves. And I don't remember anything beyond that either. So when the Pixel Remasters came out, I said I'm absolutely going to play through 3 and 5 to completion because of the quality of life stuff they threw in there. They've made them more easy to get through because you have those boost features. And I definitely have that boost on. I'm not ashamed to admit it because I don't want to grind in these games.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
the whole purpose for me is I just want to get through them and enjoy them and not have to like sit around for like 20, 30 minutes grinding up a level just to overcome a boss. So I would actually say...
That's funny because when I played Final Fantasy V and didn't finish it, I was all about grinding because I was in a situation where I couldn't save the game.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no. That's
so I was just trying to over-level myself as much as possible.
To beat it, yeah.
And then that one boss that just like sucks you into himself. Just like, okay, game's over now.
That's it.
Okay. Oh, I know what you're talking. You're talking about
Hardcore
Atomos.
run.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just fought that boss last night, actually. And it was the one boss so far that actually felt like a bit of a challenge despite using the boosted experience. And I was like, do I have to actually grind? Now, I pulled it out, but it was a bit of a mess of a fight. All the other fights had gone pretty smoothly, but that's because I feel like I'm pretty well versed in Final Fantasy. And so some of that challenge is just having like the knowledge of what jobs do. And speaking of jobs, Final Fantasy 3, I mean, we'll get to 5 in a little bit, but Final Fantasy 3, this is a game
the job games.
But yeah, the 2 job games. And I'm really ashamed of myself for not playing through 3 earlier because of how much I love Final Fantasy 14. I would say 3 is one of the most integral Final Fantasy games to Final Fantasy 14 in general, in terms of like how they've repurposed stuff. The whole Crystal Tower series is basically from Final Fantasy 3. You have the Ancient Labyrinth, which is literally the Labyrinth of the Ancients. You have the Crystal Tower, you have the World of Darkness, you have Zand, you have Cloud of Darkness. And not just that, the story is basically Shadowbringers. in the past, this ancient advanced civilization, you might have heard that in 14, and a flood of light kind of destroyed them. I was like, oh, okay, this is Shadowbringers. I'm like, oh my, even a job system. You have your independent level for your characters, but each job you unlock, they can go up to level 99. So you have job level, and I was like, it's like, oh my gosh. And like you just switch them out of combat. I'm like, there's so much DNA in this game that's found in like 14. I was like, I'm such a fraud. But I have remedied that, and I have finished Final Fantasy 3. And I have to say, like, I really enjoyed that game.
Nice.
I'm very impressed. I'm actually shocked they went to Final Fantasy 4. I would have thought 4 would have come before 3 if you didn't give me the numbers and had me play all 6 games of the original 2D ones. I'd be like, it would go 1, 2, 4, 3 would have been my pick. And it's like, oh no, like, because 4 kind of went back to a very story-driven, everyone has one job, very focused. It doesn't have that depth that this job system has. Obviously not as robust as 5, but the amount of jobs they're like throwing at you, and the fact that you can just change them on a whim. I mean, you start, like, the funny joke is you start as the Onion Knight. So you're 4 Onion Knights who are just like generic fighters. And then you also have like a freelancer, but I mean, you got like you got your casters, you got like white mage, black mage, red mage, you got like your warrior, monk, ranger, but then they also have like, I forgot, they have like the advanced jobs. So like when you're like a white mage and like you want more of that, like you can get like, what is it, the sage. They have sage, which is like a more potent like white mage, and then like the magus is like the more potent like black mage user. You get like ninja, and like you get dark knight. You have a Viking job in this game. I was like, wait, there's a Viking? You like, so like ranger goes the bard. I was like, this is pretty cool. This is a very important piece of Final Fantasy history, from like a job system, from a gameplay system. And then just like, you know, the music in this game, like hearing a lot of the music, like all these games have really great music, but hearing some of those themes again, in their original form, because I've obviously heard Final Fantasy 14 versions of them, but like, you know, the overall theme, it's like, oh my gosh, I've heard this so many times, but now I'm hearing this version, the battle theme. It's really well done. And I like how the premise, you're on this floating island, and like, I'm like, is this game not that long? And then you get like an airship, and then you it doesn't tell you what to do. I love that about Final Fantasy old school games. They'll give you that point where they give you like some kind of mechanism to travel, and they kind of tell you where you need to go, but you don't know how to get there. And so you're just kind of like wandering around the map for a little bit, and you come across like maybe a different town, and you go, oh, this stuff's way too expensive, I got to come here later. Or you wander into a zone like, oh, these enemies are too high. So they kind of do that, but like I wasn't encountering any of that. I'm like, where do I go? I'm like, well, let me circle the globe, because, you know, you go over you go right, you'll end up on the left side. You do that, you find out that's your little floating continent, a small piece of a giant world. I was like, what? I was like, I didn't know that was coming, and I was like, what? There's a whole other world on here? I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, you get like 2 airships. You get like an airship that goes really fast, because there's a part where you have to like go against this wind current. And if you try and go against it, like you get blown out. You get like a giant airship like called the Invincible. It's the weirdest mechanic. I don't think I've ever seen this in this Final Fantasy game before or after this. You have to go up to like mountain ranges and hit a button where it like leaps over them, and it can only leap over 2 like pixels or whatever of like or tiles of pixels of a mountain range, and that's how it works. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just so many weird and quirky things in this. And obviously, the original version, this pixel remaster, it's kind of based off of, doesn't have like the character names, but I did name all my characters after the DS version to give them, you know, that
canon
personality. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you have any like questions or stuff, but like I was very bummed that I didn't play this sooner, and very happy that I now can add it to my list of I've finished this.
Very cool.
And once I finish 5, I will have completed all the classic 2D Final Fantasy.
Nice.
How are you finding that leap from 3 to 5? Because there is so much DNA with the job stuff. Like, you talk about like, as soon as you said, oh, I'm using all the things to help me out, when I think of 3 and 5, I think of the grind, because of the fact that you are doing both the job class and you're also doing the level itself. Like, do you feel that like you prefer 5? Because I think 5 has a really emotional story in it. more so than 3, and it kind of almost seems to combine. And so there's some big beats in 5. Like, so when I think of like moments in Final Fantasy, there's some like, oh crap, they did that. But do you think that I almost feel like they take the emotional beats of 4, combine them with the mechanics of 3, and then that's what you get with Final Fantasy 5? But I hear a lot of people talk about this game a bit like a Black Sheep 5. They say it was too much grind. Like, there are
5 or 3?
5.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
because I've heard
obviously
that
because
about
it's
3, but not 5 as much.
Well, there you go. So, we're hearing bad things about all Final Fantasy games. But like, how are you finding 5 now?
So I could say this, and the first part of what you asked with the jobs. In 3, you don't share abilities. Like, you just switch that job, and then you have that, you can clip the gear and abilities. Like, you don't gain a benefit for, like, there's, like, even maxing out the job, there's something else you can do for, apparently, if you max out every job. But it's not, you don't share abilities across jobs like you can do in 5. Instead, the more you level up the job, the more potent some of their skills, like Bard, I believe, or Ranger, whichever one has Payon. The one that like heals you or whatever, like the Bard song, it gets more potent as you level up. I notice it's like, oh, it like barely heals my party for everything. Now it heals for a lot. Whereas 5 is definitely, of the first 6 and probably up until the later games, it is the most advanced job system, because you can, as you level up and you gain levels of mastery for each job, you unlock new skill sets within that job. As well as you have a secondary slot in your abilities. You have your primary abilities, and then you can bring over a shared ability from another job. So if you max out White Mage to like level 6 or 7, whatever it is, and then you go Black Mage and you get to level 7, that character can equip White Mage level 7 abilities and Black Mage. So like, you don't even need Red Mage at that point. You are like the god tier Red Mage right there, because you have black and white spells. You're just going nuts because you have everything. Or you can combine Time with White Mage, or White Mage with Summoner, and like you just get these crazy powerful jobs once you put in the time in them, and they each have like a cap, unlike an earlier cap. Whereas 3, it goes up to 99, which is insane. I didn't come anywhere close to doing that. But the jobs in Final Fantasy V, some of them only have 2 levels to master, and it's the ability points. You just got to earn those on top of experience. So it makes you think a little bit more strategically, because you can go look at the jobs, look at their description, see some of their abilities, and like, I kind of want that. So like me knowing Final Fantasy is like, I want the Time Mage ASAP. I want that like haste, and I want that like regen, and I want those like abilities, and then I want White Mage obviously for its defensive stuff. But then it's like you have these other ones like Ninja with its like throw. It's like, well, that's pretty strong. Monk is very strong because they get HP boost. So like, it's just it's like night and day how much more in depth Final Fantasy V is than any of the first 6 Final Fantasies when it comes to the job system. And I understand why. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Like 5 is because I think it was Hiroshi Sakai, the director of Final Fantasy XVI's first Final Fantasy game he worked on, and they talk about like the lineage between 5 and 16 is actually very, very similar in the way that like you master a particular ability in 16 and you can equip it to something else, and there is a lot of the way they keep that from 5, and you can see that there's a lot of similarities mechanically in linking. They're very different games, but there is a lineage there between, and how important 5 is. You've got mid is a part of that game. Like there are just so many other things that are
mid.
Yeah,
I forgot mid was in there.
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah.
But it's a really important game when it comes to kind of like the present state of Final Fantasy, of like things that were lifted directly from that game. I apologize for interrupting you, Damiani.
No, that was great, because the other point that we didn't discuss that you asked about, like the kind of like the story beats and the emotional attachment. 3 does feel, the Pixel Remaster version feels like your main characters are just kind of faceless heroes. I mean, just the generic warriors, like you are Onion Knights. I know the I read up, the DS version does have a different opening where you don't start with all 4 characters. You actually have a little bit of like character development for some of them before they join your party, but most of it is about like the world around you and side characters, because a pivotal moment, like 5 other characters, this happens every Final Fantasy, have to come to your aid. The chosen ones who are also help you. So everyone around you in the world kind of has all the development, and everything's happening to you. Whereas 5 is definitely more like 4, where you have this cast of characters who have these very unique personalities. They develop over the course of the adventure, and you do feel for them. There are those like, you know, tug at your heartstring moments with those some of those revelations. And also, I forgot that Kryl was in this game, another Final Fantasy 14 staple. I was like, oh, I was like, there's Kryl. I was like, all right, this is really, really cool to see. But yeah, you have like Bart's, you know, misnamed originally, but you have Bart's, you know, the main kind of like first character you come across, and is like trusty Chocobo.
Yeah, what's this Chocobo's name? I can't remember.
Boko, I believe.
Okay,
you don't really stay with them for too long.
No.
And then you meet like Lena the princess, Ferris, who also turns out to be somebody else later. Is it Galluf? Galluf, right?
Yeah,
Galluf,
Galluf,
yeah. Who has amnesia, you know, pretty common trope.
Galluf is like one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters. Like, has an absolute arc in this game.
Yeah, he's
so
sick.
Just shout out to Galluf.
When you find out who they are, and then you get to meet some of their like old friends. Also, they're called the Warriors, the Dawn Warriors, like the Dawn Warriors. I'm like, the next expansion for Final Fantasy 14 is called Dawn Trail. I'm like, I'm paying a lot of attention to Final Fantasy 5 right now, because maybe there's some hints in here I should be paying attention to. I was like, But yeah, meeting his old comrades, like, because the world you go to halfway through the game is so different in terms of like, you have a werewolf town. I'm like, there's a town of werewolves. I'm like, wait, what? Like, it's like a monster-filled world, and it's like normal, whereas the world you start on is this pretty kind of like vanilla, to say, you know, the least. And they really, you know, they do a really good job with like the modes of like how you get around. It is definitely more paced towards the story. I think 3 feels a little bit more open, whereas 5 does feel a little bit more dictated to you. But like, that's not a bad thing, because I'm still feel like I have a lot of like, once you get like the submersible, you can just go around a lot of places, and it's like the game's telling you to go here, but you have access to so much. Are you really think I'm just going to go to the next spot? No, I'm going to find the next village I'm not supposed to be at that has those nice shiny new weapons and armor, because I want to like, oh yeah, and those new spells, I'm always on the hunt for those new spells and secrets. Both these games, like the secrets, like that's a thing that Final Fantasy, the old ones, did even back then. Those like hidden passages, how to unlock like your best weapons, like in 5. It is something to do with like tomes you got to acquire, and then you unlock like this seal in like this like ancient castle.
There's like a zone with all the weapons in there. You have to unlock them.
Yeah. I love that type of stuff. And 3 also had like a similar thing. And I would say the only thing that's like, you know, for, you know, completionist, or for maybe not necessarily purist, but for those looking for the total experience, none of these versions include any of like that bonus content. So any extra dungeons aren't in here. So that would be my only dream, would be for them to reconcile that at some point. But just, again, the visuals in these games, like the music is great. You can change between the music if you want the original version too. But like the visuals, like the amount of the stuff they do with the effects in these games is like really good. I mean, it to me, that's like worth it alone. Like, it's not bad looking sprites. They look very good, and they're doing these really cool layers of effects on top of all the magic and the explosions, and it just adds some more oomph to it, because it's like, oh man, like these are old games, so maybe if you're a newer player, like I don't really feel as connected to these older visuals, but these little touches they do, I think, gives it enough where it's like, I do feel a bit of that emotion. I do feel when this character is sacrificing themselves by jumping into a flaming cauldron or something like that, or I'm going to stay behind and blow this up and you need to get out of here and survive. Like, it's good stuff. Also, the quirkiness. The like, I swear, their animations, like when they get knocked around, when they spin, like, it's like Mario RPG, like Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
I think they were like, I didn't draw that connection. It's these games. That's the Final Fantasy side, taking this quirkiness and putting it into Super Mario RPG, since I just played through the Switch version recently. I'm like, holy crap, that's where it comes from. There's even a song in 5.
Wait right there. Colt Smith wrote in, how do you feel about the lighter, sillier tone in Final Fantasy V?
Okay.
I generally feel like the over-the-top emotions make it incredibly charming and make the characters really stand out in an otherwise very vanilla, low-stakes story. It's far from the top of my Final Fantasy list, but I think it has a bit of that Dragon Quest-style charm that makes it a genuine gem. It does have a lot of good humor, actually.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's the humor. I think it's the humor that when there are those, because I think there's some really emotional beats in 5.
There are, yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think because it is such a, because it is quite whimsical in that way, that when they do hit, you're like, oh, I did not expect this game to do that, or to do that to that particular character, etc. So yeah, I think it hits really hard. I remember playing it, and I was playing it on PlayStation 1 when the PlayStation Anthology or whatever it was, and not expecting the story to hit me the way that it did, because it just seems kind of like fun and like adventure and fluffy, and then it feels very Dragon Quest.
Yeah, exactly. It does feel very Dragon Quest. Denki King wrote in also, "Hey fellas, it's been a few years now since I beat Final Fantasy V, but I remember getting stumped on what to do next so often that I eventually just played through the second half or so of the game with a walkthrough. Perhaps this is just par for the course with older Final Fantasy games. Are you having difficulty figuring out what to do next to advance the plot? Excited to hear your thoughts on this game because I rarely hear people talk about it."
I would like for there to be a way to track in some kind of like log what maybe like was the last piece of key dialogue. I believe 2 had something like that, so you could, because I had the keyword thing, because you had to remember passwords, and they never really went back to that. So you could look that up and be like, oh, I think I need to go do this. Because there were times where, I mean, I was trying my best to pay attention to the story, and a lot of times like, okay, something like we're gonna go do this, but like something big just happened, like a dragon was injured, and we went to go do this, and they said they're gonna go take care of it. Maybe we should go check in on that and see like what was going on. Like that was what I needed to do. And they do a lot of that. Go to point, you start at point A, go to point B, then go to point C, and they're like, remember point A? And it's like you or something that was said at point A, you need to remember that to figure out where to go next. And that part I think could have used like a little bit more like quality of life, like massaging, something like that to improve it. But there definitely was like, I forget where, but there was one point where I couldn't quite figure out where to go. I think it was after, it was a part with the black chocobo, and I was trying to figure out where to go next with it. And I ended up just flying to all like the castles and towns, and eventually I was like trying to remember stuff, and I was like, let me talk to this. And honestly, this is not excusing the games from a fault of, this is a little bit of a fault on their end, and they haven't been like updated. But as a rule of thumb, if you're going to play a classic Final Fantasy game, always talk to everybody. Like that, if you're stuck, you talk to every NPC, no matter how mundane they seem. Talk to them, please. Like when I first played through Final Fantasy IV on Super Nintendo, the 2. I thought there was like an inn room in one of the castles, and I was like, there's nothing important there. It was where Sid was healing, and that's who you needed to talk to advance. I was running around like the dwarf underworld forever, and I'm like, what do I do? Did I break the game or something? I mean, as a kid, I wasn't thinking that, but I was just like, what do I do? And I went in there, and I was like, oh my God. I like literally sat myself down and said, you remember this for the rest of your life. Always talk to every NPC in Final Fantasy or an RPG. Do that before you complain about where to go next. You talk to every NPC, and I don't care how like random they seem. You talk to them.
Yeah, man. I played through this also over the summer for the first time. I played it. I started it. Then 16 came out, and I played that. Then I went back to 5, and I was like, oh, man, what was I doing in this game again?
Right.
But I got so damn addicted to the job system. I love job systems already, but good Lord, I was addicted to just maxing every single job out that I could, switching constantly, and like you're saying, Diamond, and getting those abilities and putting together with other jobs. Man, I felt so broken so many times in that game, just like with things like I had. Like the samurai dude, I had like tons of money just throwing money at everyone. I was like throwing just tons of money at the last boss. Just doing huge damage. I was like, God, this is so fun that I could do this.
I do kind of like that mechanic. 4 had some of that with the ninja throwing as well. It's just like, you got just a bunch of junk weapons, just like toss them at enemies.
Yeah, man. And you can put like the ninja dual wield on other classes too. So like you can have heavier guys like dual wielding. It's so much fun. But yeah, Final Fantasy V is really good. I really enjoyed it when I played through it. Highly recommend it.
There's have you played Octopath Traveler 2?
Not 2.
I played a bit of it, yes.
It's an incredible game, and when you get towards the end game, like the level of complexity that you can get, it's really, really amazing. And there's a skill that a character has where like they can call on like heroes that you can have people fight with you by basically paying them money to come and fight with
like
you.
a mercenary.
And there are some stuff where you can just get them to just throw the weirdest stuff. So you've just got like this like lovely person from this tiny town who's just throwing crazy amounts of damage, and they're the most unsuspecting little person, and they're running along and be like, hey, I'm just going to summon this incredibly powerful person to come and just like destroy this enemy. And it's very, very satisfying. Sorry.
No, that sounds awesome.
Just you saying you can throw weird things at enemies.
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler 2. If you want weird things thrown at enemies, Octopath Traveler 2.
Good to know, yeah. All right. Okay, let's talk about Dredge, Bloodworth.
Oh, about Dredge.
Let's talk about Dredge. I finished Dredge. I love Dredge.
Yeah.
You're going through it. You're pretty far.
No, I finished it.
Oh, you finished it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk.
Like, not this weekend, but the Thanksgiving
Did you play the
weekend.
DLC that came out?
I have not played the
I haven't played it
DLCs.
either.
No, I know there's another new one that just came out too. But yeah, I played through the main game, and it was just one of those funny turnaround moments because I was looking through things before like I submitted the votes.
Yep.
Before I submitted the votes, I was looking for things to play, and I was like, I started up Dredge, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be into this right now. Just like
That's how I felt.
the management and the like going out there and fishing and stuff. It's like I don't know, and then I swear it was like 15 minutes later I was caught in the loop.
Yep.
Caught in that
Same thing
loop.
happened to me.
And then like just one of those things where you keep things like, oh, I'll go out for one more run, and go out for another more run, and then it's like 3 or 4 in the morning or something ridiculous like that.
Looking for a weird fish.
Looking for a weird fish. Just like trying to explore an area. Mm-hmm. And it's like you go out to a certain distance and it starts getting dark, and it's like, all right, I got to head back in. And then just little upgrades to your ship and coming across new things, and it's such a great. Like it really shows how well limitations can work, like in designing a game and making that work. Because it's like if you didn't have that, that limitation of night and the speed of your boat and all of that to start out with, then it's like, okay, you could probably just mop up everything in that game, like right away, and it wouldn't be very interesting. But it's just by like putting those things on there,
slowly,
and allowing you to kind of like upgrade a little bit at a time. It's like, okay, you can't like shove everything into the boat. So it's like your boat's filled up, go back, buy a couple upgrades or whatever, and then the way that the story kind of like unravels a little bit at a time as you kind of like, find those artifacts and go through
there's
the main
definitely
quest.
some eldritch things in this game. Where you expect Cthulhu to pop out or something like that.
Like some of the aberrations that you pull up from the deep, and you're just like, what the heck is that thing? There's a lot of things like that, like when you come across the stones that have the symbols on them, and it's like, okay, what do I do with
What
this?
do I do? Yep.
And it's cool because it's like there is, when you see the ending, it changes your whole perception of the game, but it's not dependent on seeing that twist.
Right.
Like you can have fun with that game, and the story doesn't even necessarily matter. But then, seeing where it plays out, like, just puts you in a different mindset.
Yeah. So basically, anyone who hasn't seen the game you are just a little like tugboat.
Yeah.
You're just out in the ocean. There's many islands. There's different depths to the ocean where you can fish for stuff, like actual fish or like some junk you can sell like that. And as you're doing this, you slowly like start upgrading your boat. You slowly start learning more about like people. You like do some quests for people. You're like learning about new regions, and you unlock a new area, and they have like mechanics tied to those areas. Like there's like the lava volcano area or something like that. Then there's one that's like a bayou where you gotta like navigate through there. But if you hit stuff with your boat, you take damage with your ship.
If you bump into anything with your boat at all, it could be brutal because it's like, your engines just went out, so you're gonna move incredibly slow, or you just knocked out your fishing gear, so you've got to go back and repair to get your fishing gear working again or whatever, and that's part of it too, because it's like the way your boat is laid out is like a Resident Evil case.
Yeah, it's like an attaché case.
And so it's like But there are certain specific points where like you have to put these things here.
Yeah,
right.
like
It's like
a
you can
hook or
only
something.
put like your fishing gear on the sides. You can only put your engines in the back. You can only put your lights in the front, and then you've got to like twist the different shapes of fish to figure out where they're going to fit in there, and and decide what you're going to sacrifice. And
Yeah.
when.
There's some weird, scary fish out there, too. Like, I saw something humongous. It looked like a leviathan or something, and I never saw it again. I was just like, oh, my God. What's freaky about this game, too, is the sun goes down. You get, like, a fear meter almost or something like that, and you'll start seeing stuff if it goes up too high, and it's very dark outside, and you have, like, a little light usually. That's it, but if you have that light on, it attracts things to you also, and these weird creatures will definitely mess up your ship and you'll ruin your run. But you're right, it's just so damn addictive, these loops you can do of just like, just go out there and grab that and head back real quick.
And if you're out there in the dark too, like they have this thick fog around you, so it's like it's not just that like it's too dark to see, it's like basically the rocks are invisible until you get within a certain
right into
zone.
them.
So you go too fast and you could regret it.
Yeah. I really like the way the game looks, too, visually. It's like a very cartoony-looking kind of game. And it's very peaceful also sometimes. Like, of course, there's some tense moments, but it is just such a damn relaxing game.
Yeah, there'll be times where, like, some dolphins will go by or like...
Not everything's trying to kill you, but
yeah.
It's really good. I really like that game. I want to play the DLC because it's like Arctic stuff, I think.
Yeah, the newest one is Arctic. I forget what the ones before that are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I highly recommend it.
And I'm curious, again, with the story, how that fits in at all.
Yeah.
Because the story feels like it's a very, like, boom, 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 boom. And it's over. Very definitely over at the end. So, I want to know kind of what the DLCs are doing. Yeah,
I'm stoked you finished it. Yeah, you need to play it, Damiani.
Yeah,
it's so
Damiani,
good.
I do. I know it screams.
It's not long either, dude.
Yeah,
That's pretty short.
Because I do think
I feel bad.
I got through it in just like a couple of nights.
Yeah, you could be in like 2 or 3 nights probably. Okay, it's time for Sort It Out.
Wow,
Jeez, you just cut out for me.
Loud.
That's
right.
We got to do it.
That was too much.
No, it's gonna get
too much.
louder next time.
Okay, great.
In this segment, we just talk about, game, company, anything in the game industry that's just kind of annoying us, that needs a little sorting out, something we're not too happy with. What do you boys got, if anything? Want to think about it?
I mean, right at the moment, leaks. But
Leaks, yeah. Leaks is a great one.
Yeah.
Leaks is a great one.
I don't know who's sorting it out. In that case.
Rockstar so sorted that out.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the leakers,
They
and
killed
then you've
that,
got
man.
like however it managed to leak. Yeah. But yeah, it's just so funny because it's like, did you not see the last time that this happened and the person went to jail?
Yeah, they're like in the gulag, dude.
Why would you leak anything from Rockstar?
Someone was joking that the original time for today was just going to be a live stream of them the FBI raiding the leaker's house.
Oh man, that would have been funny.
It's not funny. It's not clever. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But they will do it.
They will
People
do it.
will continue to do it.
But I mean, a sort of similar thing happened in this, with the Last of Us 2 remastered.
Yep.
That one wasn't malicious. That was like a technical issue that like it popped up on the store.
It was
early
on
or
their end,
whatever. And Beyond Good and Evil, same sort of thing.
It's them.
Yeah.
So it happens.
There's usually games are leaked. Like it was available for 5 minutes on the whatever store in some of the online store, and you're going, oh well, that's the release date of that thing completely ruined.
Yeah. Let's see. Moises Silva wrote in, "Sort it out, Capcom. What are you doing? You put out easily one of the best fighting games I've ever played, but you just continuously bombard your fans with these greedy microtransactions. First, the throwaway battle passes, then the exuberant turtle tax on the Ninja Turtle skins, and now we finally get skins for the actual Street Fighter 6 roster, and it cost $100 for all of them.
Whoa.
I was excited for the eventual Capcom Games crossover cost, but now I'm just worried. Street Fighter 6 deserves better than this, and you know it. Sort it out." Yeah, I heard that's getting pretty expensive over there on those microtransactions.
Yeah, and they're also embracing the whatever like other mobile game already does. Even though this is a mobile game where you buy a currency in game, so you can redeem for like those outfits. And you can't buy the amount you need for one.
Right,
you have to buy more so that you're buying extra so you'll have leftover and so they know you'll have to buy more later or that you'll just sit on that. And obviously people just want, them to have that option. And also because it's sold in game and not through like, third like Steam, they can't like Capcom, they don't like less likely they'll be discounted or go on sale or something like potentially.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I definitely see it's what everyone's doing, but I feel like Capcom should just be aware of optics with their history, especially around fighting game microtransactions and the whole, brouhaha over when the DLC's on the disc-ing back in the day. It's like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, you might want, and like all their versions of Street, it's like you should tread lightly when it comes to this stuff and not, you did so well with Street Fighter 6, come on, keep that goodwill train rolling. Don't have too many mishaps. Like hopefully they could maybe course correct on this. It's not too late, but don't, we've seen too many games this year already that had excellent launches and post-release support, had missteps and they're struggling, they're scrambling, to get things back on track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Street Fighter 6, when I've played, is so good, so hopefully they sort all that out. Let's see. Oh, I'm curious what you guys think about this one. Alexander Zirian off-roaded. I've said it before, and unfortunately I have to say it again. Announcements have no place in the Game Awards. So many people say that 2023 was one of the best years for video games, yet almost no one will remember these amazing titles in their post-Game Awards discourse because they will all be talking about their future releases of unknown quality. This is completely wrong and is not healthy for the industry when even the best games stop deserving attention the moment they get released. Sort it out. I feel like games that won in the past still get talked about. I still talk about Chain Echoes and that didn't even get nominated.
I think you're not wrong, because I think the main complaint is this just an extension of Summer Games Fest? Mm-hmm. Or is this an award show? I'd say that you want to get as many eyes on as possible. Mm-hmm. You want to get as many people to watch it, and there's a reason why Keighley can be like, oh, there's 80 million people or something watch that thing because they want to see what the next thing is. And if that means that 80 million people are able to do it, and the Game Awards is able to sustain itself, and you can have a massive event like this, which costs a huge amount of money,
right,
and get sponsors in, then yeah, there are going to be people like us who are, are listening and engaging with the discourse every single day, who are going to care about it. I think there is room to have both. And I think in times past, what happened last year, we remember, how can you not remember? Elden Ring. I mean, obviously, and then all the controversy that happened afterwards, but there is, people remember those things. They do. They really do. And I don't think they're forgotten. I recognize that you have to have a balance. And I think Jeff Keighley is, doing well at figuring out what that balance is. I know that some people have problems with this idea of the pre-show where a lot of the award winners get.
Right.
But that's the problem with award shows in general. You will have
it's officially the opening act now.
Yeah. I'm just not hot on the branding. But the Oscars have that problem. They're all is it an award show or is it entertainment? And it's entertainment through it firstly. Why do people want to come and watch the Game Awards? Because they want to be entertained by those winners. They want to see the people that they like who've made those games accept those awards. Is it interesting watching people thank people that you don't know for 3 hours? No, it's not. It isn't interesting. It's like how many times can you thank a colleague that we don't know? We don't have any understanding of that. So some people don't find that engaging. And you often see it in some award shows where it's going, if it's for the best, this is Oscars, and I'm sorry to compare it to, but you've got best director, best performance, best actor, best actress, that sort of thing. They will allocate more time to than say best short, best documentary, this, that, and the other, because people want to see talent. They don't want to see, who's done the best audio of that thing.
Yeah.
And
Technical
it's
awards,
really
yeah.
uneven, and it shows you just ultimately why people are watching that stuff. And Jeff has created a model that is built around selling advertising space. And I think this year, I think I've said this before, this year more than ever, I think people are talking more about who's going to win Game of the Year than what's coming up. I really do. I think more people are interested in the games this year, and it will be celebrated because this has been a wonderful year for video games that have been made, and people want to celebrate those games. And they want to come to this place and see their favourites win it. I think people are really passionate about their games as well this year.
Are.
They care about, like, you know, whether it's Alan Wake 2 or Tears of the Kingdom or Spider-Man, like, people care.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not in a bad way, but like tribes have been built up of kind of going, are you in this? Are you in this? Because it's like, how do we define how video games are trying to figure out what their identity is. And you've got a year in which you've got multiple versions of what that identity could be. And if you're going to do an award show that is essentially saying to the world, this is what we celebrate as a medium, you know, do we celebrate you know, Tears of the Kingdom, Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man, Baldur's Gate 3, all of them are doing very, very different things. And it's a statement to not just the industry itself, but people at large saying, this is what we as an industry have decided is the game that defines this year. Mm-hmm. And so it's the industry kind of battling with its own identity. And I think people want to be the people who are defining that. And they want their tribe or their game to win more than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just because it's been in my sphere. The amount of people that are going, vote this, vote that, vote. The voting
I've seen
seems
a lot,
to be
yeah.
a lot. And I think he's done a brilliant job with like the viral campaigns of, you know, the TikTok stuff or whatever, the Instagram stuff, where it's like people are choosing their game of the year by like moving their head backwards and forwards. It's like, how can we gamify something like that? But the discussion really has been, I think, in the lead up to this, about the games, not necessarily about the announcements.
Yeah. I'd say, yeah. Well said.
Sorry.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I think that, you know, like you were saying, like the announcements are definitely there to get the eyeballs on the show and make people excited. I do wish there was a better way to figure out the balance of like, if you're going to have an award, then don't just have it be like some weird throwaway thing. Like I can kind of understand when like if somebody's gonna sweep to like maybe like put some things together or whatever, it's like, okay, if you're nominated in 5 things, then like maybe put like 3 of them as mentions when they come up. But it's also like, it's weird because then you're not also mentioning those nominees. You know, you're kind of like just like cutting out that whole tension of those other awards.
I definitely think they should all be included. That's not me saying, yeah, great, the ones that no one cares about, but you shouldn't be discussed. But it's always.
But that's what's weird though, is it's like if you've decided that like, oh, this isn't interesting to say anything about, then it's like, why did we have the award to vote on to begin with?
It's that I do think that's super interesting, because also just because it's not interesting doesn't mean people shouldn't be awarded for their work.
Right.
And it's like, because if you are going to create an industry event, just because you don't care who did whatever particular thing doesn't mean it isn't meaningful to the people within that industry.
Yep.
And it's whether it's going, you know, is the Game Awards entertainment, or is it in fact an industry award? And I think more than anything, you look at that hype trailer that Jeff did, it's entertainment. It's entertainment. It's going, we are the most front-facing representation of the video game industry. Because I went to the BAFTA Game Awards last year and I loved it, but it doesn't get the same hype that the Game Awards does, even though within the industry it's probably a far more prestigious thing to win a BAFTA, you know?
Yeah.
But you don't get the same coverage online as the Game Awards. And it's ultimately entertainment. It goes, look how...
I go to GDC awards every year too, yeah.
And it's and within the industry those matter. And it's like, what is the identity? I think that's what, is it Alexander who asked the question? Like, is it entertainment or not? And I think it's going to constantly, that question is going to be every single year. You're going to get that question.
Fabian wrote in, sort it out. Hello, allies. What is going on with Dragon Quest XII and Ni no Kuni 3? I recently got my dad into playing Ni no Kuni 2, and he really liked it. He has put over 170 hours into it so far. I want him to check out Dragon Quest XII and Ni no Kuni 3, but no news at all. Are these games not of interest to make anymore? Best regards, Fabian. Well, Fabian, Ni no Kuni 3 doesn't exist. And we know Dragon Quest XII exists.
Right.
But Dragon Quest just takes forever to come out every time. We have no idea if Ni no Kuni 3 is ever going to happen. So sadly, we don't know about that.
Are you guys
know
Ni no
about
Kuni
Ni no
2
Kuni.
fans? Are you Ni
Yeah.
no-
Damiani for
Yeah,
sure.
Dominic
yes.
loves Ni no Kuni 2.
I really like it as well.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
was really lucky to work with Morgan Rushton and Ollie Chance, who work at a company called Schlock, and they did all the localization and writing on Ni no
Oh,
Kuni
cool.
games. So the reason
Oh,
Drippy is
nice.
Welsh is because of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I
That's
remember that
it.
whole
Okay. I
story.
know all about that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
amazing. That effort they did. Yeah.
They're so brilliant, and yeah, I have a soft spot for both Ni no Kuni and Ni no Kuni 2 because they're just completely different video games.
Yep.
Like I became really obsessed with that kind of, RTS style. We're going to war for some reason. It was like, what is this game? And also, like, I'm gonna want to make my town the best possible town ever.
Yeah,
so
of
I'm
course.
sitting there playing Farmville essentially.
Yeah, of course.
It was great.
Yeah, I actually did enjoy doing that a lot.
I think Ni no Kuni doesn't have that. Ni no Kuni 2 doesn't have the heart of 1. I think 1 is really such an emotional journey, and a game that kind of doesn't really seem to end. You think it's going to hit a peak, and then you go, actually, this is the real boss. This is the real thing. But
Yeah.
Ni no Kuni should get so much more love than it does.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get 3 someday, but we'll get Dragon Quest 12 at least someday. It's just going to take a while. All we know
Yeah.
is we have a logo, and that's about it.
They're waiting for
All
Switch
right.
2 to be announced.
Yeah, I'll take it, dude.
Fair.
All right, it's time for Keep It Up. The exact opposite. Stuff we're pleased with in the game industry. Who's doing well right now?
No one, and that's
No
the end
one.
of this
Everyone
section.
sucks.
And it's
Yeah.
in decline. I'm going to say keep it up. I'm going to say keep it up to the people who are being very outspoken at the moment. I think about the state of the industry. I think it's kind of. I don't want to get too much into it because I've already spoken about it. But I think keep it up to those people. I think there's a lot of stuff going on that is kind of being tempted to be brushed under the carpet, and I really think that they're in this very, very sad time for an industry that is hemorrhaging talent that you kind of fear isn't going to come back. I want to say keep it up first of all to those people, and also to like the people who are supporting those people. The amount of times I see someone on, thank God for social media in a weird way, where they can project and say I'm so sorry, and you just see everyone rallying around them and wanting to help out. And I don't think there are enough opportunities available for the people that are losing their jobs, but like keep it up to them. Really, it's not great, and it's very, very, very sad. So that's what I just want to say.
Yeah. Well, I think we've not said Keep It Up more to anyone than this company. I'm going to continue to do it, and that's Capcom. Keep it up. Dragon's Dogma 2 is looking real good. I'm very pleased with what I saw of that game. I love the first one, and I cannot wait to play the second one. It looks like it's got that jank that I want. Beautiful. Hideous pawns that won't shut up probably, just the way I like it. It's going to be a delight. Good job, Capcom.
I'm just gonna say keep it up to I guess the Japanese devs that are out there like blogging about different little things.
Ooh,
It's like
yeah.
the Sakurai YouTube channel
Yep.
has been so great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've been watching Kamiya's thing, even though he's not working. He's just still like just connecting with people in ways that he probably has never really done before. And then I saw, I think these are all in Japanese, but like Yoko Shimomura is like putting out like
Oh, she's doing like an advent calendar.
yeah,
thing
like
almost with it.
daily
Yeah.
like liner notes or
Yeah.
whatever from the
Yeah,
like
she's
Mario
great.
RPG soundtrack.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Give that a follow. Absolutely. Blood, did you ever see the video of like Sakaguchi and Katase, I think's there? They just talk about like Final Fantasy 1 through 6. And they just talk.
I don't know if I've
it's-
seen
it
that
was, like,
one, no.
It's very recent or pretty recently. It's really good. You should watch it.
Nice.
It's really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we you know how we talked about Digital Eclipse doing like Atari 50
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and Karateka. Like I really would like to see them do something like that with Final Fantasy.
Oh wow, that would be impressive.
But I know they've got something that they're going to reveal,
Okay.
but I'm very curious what it's going to be.
Let's see what crazy in-depth thing they're gonna release. What about you, Damiani? Anything?
Yeah, I'll keep it lighthearted. Keep it up, Nintendo, and your unreleased or unused character designs Wapeach was revealed as a
Wapeach?
character.
Wait, what?
Wapeach.
What is this?
It was
Oh,
in the
you've not
news
seen
channel,
Wap-
You should
Oh, I didn't
it.
see
Wapeach.
this. Wapeach?
The original designer of Waluigi has been going out and like tweeting a bunch of stuff on Instagram and stuff. And yeah, this week revealed Wapeach. So they had pencil sketches and then some 3D models as well.
Oh
The
my
pencil
God.
sketches were more interesting than the 3D model. But she's got she was for like Mario Tennis. She's got like a
Oh.
huge axe in one of the sketches.
I suppose that's what's going to happen at the Game Awards, right? It's going to be who's next for Smash, and it's Wapeach coming in.
Not Waluigi.
No.
The rage.
Oh man, that would cause so much rage. Yeah.
Oh man, I better get Gino in the next Smash game now that they did this remake. I'm sick of asking.
I don't.
sick
The
of
next
this.
Smash game is gonna be, unless it's like an Ultimate Deluxe, like a enhanced version of Ultimate. I think they're gonna go smaller with the roster for the next one, whatever they do. I don't think they.
Yeah.
can
I think it'll be
maintain
smaller
that.
too. But you can make some cuts. You know, there's like 3 pits. All right, just like cut one of those.
Oh yeah, some of the dark versions and things like that.
Yeah,
It's
you can
okay,
cut
we
like
don't
Dark
need-
Samus. You can cut that.
Still
Get that
think
outta here.
you're probably not getting Gino, but it's okay.
All right, Damiani, cool. This is from Son of Sparta. Keep it up, Honkai Star Rail.
Oh,
Alongside the new story content and events that we get with new patches in Star Rail, the game also has permanent roguelite mode called Simulated Universe. This is an absolute blast to play through. On top of having exclusive bonuses for each run to pick up as you build your team, as you go through the simulated universe, you also get more lore on the gods of this world and their relationships with each other. Not only that, but as you play more of this mode, you get permanent upgrades that are exclusive to this part of the game and will make your subsequent runs easier. The simulated universe has many different stages that you can run through, and each stage has a number of difficulties that you can unlock as you clear them. Hoyoverse also refreshes the rewards for this mode every few weeks, so not only is it fun to play gameplay-wise, but you're also rewarded for coming back to it every once in a while. So keep it up, Honkai Star Rail. Man, people really like Honkai Star Rail
do,
and
don't they?
Genshin Impact.
yeah.
I played Genshin Impact when it came out, and it was like good, but I just like, that's a lifestyle game. That is like my life if I play that game.
And good for people who play it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love people loving stuff.
Yeah.
I'm never going to play Genshin Impact, but my God, I love how much people love that game.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of it. Okay, we got some shout outs as always. Some of our most generous patrons over there on patreon.com/easyallies in that platinum producer tier. This month we got Jabbawabs, Elthanas, Greg TheDarkKnight Kettering, and JessieBlu. Shout out. Thank you
Shout
so
out.
much, everybody.
Shout out.
I know, I'm always like, should I just do the thing that we do on the other show? Shout out, yeah.
I mean, soon.
It's going to
It
be
will.
soon, yeah. Okay,
Our world's emerging.
Ben,
Yep.
you've been playing Alan Wake 2.
I have been playing Alan Wake 2.
Heck yeah.
Blood and I have finished this game
Yes.
also.
I got the platinum trophy on it.
Ooh.
Oh, I was 2 trophies away, and they're like things.
Was it
that,
the
like, I'd have to,
ones?
like,
Was it the
jump
missable
back
ones?
to?
Yeah. There's like the missable ones where if you just don't do them at a certain point, you can't get them.
Right.
Yeah. That's a video game, isn't it?
Sure is.
That's a video game.
Sure is a video game, yeah.
It's you gotta love. I'm a big Remedy fan.
You're in good company.
I think their brand is so uniquely them, and I just think if you're going, if there's ever a game that's a vibe, it's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I do think that there is. I played it at a certain point when people were really hyping up a very particular section of the game. I don't want to spoil it, but
Right.
people saying that like, oh, it's the ashtray maze, but better. And I really, really liked it. I really liked it. I didn't think it was as like revolutionary. I think because everyone hyped it up. But I can imagine playing that section and thinking, "Wow, that's mad," because it's just them going, "We're gonna do whatever we want to do. We make up the rules." I love how they have. They've teased so much more, and now going back and watching videos in Control, like old clips of Control, and how like you see Jesse Faden's brother explaining meeting Mr. Door for the first time, and you're going, wow, they teed that up. They teed that up.
Well, I saw somebody had shared a photo from Quantum Break, and it was this whiteboard that basically has the whole Alan Wake 2 plot laid out on it. I'm just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's funny because they say it's not connected.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But just explaining to people that you've got Sam Lake, James McCaffrey, and Sam Lake playing himself, but also it's completely mad. And also, probably the most terrifying game I've played this year, because it's that bit where they just flash up the
the jump scares.
The jump scares.
Yeah.
They are cheap as hell, but they are terrifying. It's just like I'll go through and then it'll just be like a granny shouting at me.
Yep.
It's great. It's weird. I'm a big Twin Peaks fan. Like, it's absolutely my style of nonsense. And
Jack on Elmo.
also
So good.
the facial animations on
Yeah.
and like in-game facial animations. You know, when you go up to someone and often like you feel like it's not quite great. That it really is. It's probably the best facial animations I've seen since Horizon Forbidden West, where you go in and you see it's impossible to describe what it is, but there's so much humanity and life in each of those interactions.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons that the blending with the back and forth of the live action works so well.
Yep.
Is because it's like you can recognize that this is the same person without like your brain putting up too many walls. And I think the fact that they put them side by side so many times, where they like kind of flicker the live action person while you see the character model there, like all of that stuff, that really does a good job of supporting each other and making it feel cohesive, rather than the live action just standing out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Well, it feels it's just how many times they've just layered it on top of each other. So they've taken what they did in, really way back doing Max Payne. You know, you talk about the intelligent use of. I watched an interview with Sam Lake when they were celebrating maybe like the 10th year of Max Payne or something, and how they, in order to get around the use of cut sequences, they just went, oh, we don't want to do art, we want to do like pictures and stuff, and that had never seen that before when I played Max Payne, and then you see in Control when they just superimpose the live action on top of the real thing, you go, that's weird. I've never seen that before. But it's like they've created their own individual language that is so exclusive to the Remedyverse, if we're going to call it that you understand it now. And then they layer it on top, and almost like the uncanny valleyness of Ilka Villi's performance with who plays Tom Perrotta, is that who plays Alan Wake? His voice on top, even though it seems a bit, because you can see it's ADR'd, it feels still real somehow. And their shared performance is absolutely amazing. And I think, I'm really pleased that, Melanie has been nominated for Performance of the Year. But like that category itself, I would say, being a part of that Best Performance category, there's probably about 10 other people you could put in that category as well, of like people who should be nominated, because there are so many brilliant performances in that game alone. Also in Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16. There are so many performances that are standouts that it's almost it's an embarrassment of riches of performances. And I just think that I love that they get the style. The style is so unique. It's so weird. It's so wacky and off the wall. And I remember when Control happened, the actor who plays Varty, the janitor. Artie, sorry, yeah. Artie, he won the Best Supporting Performance at the BAFTAs the year. And he is astonishing. Like, absolutely amazing performance. Artie, just top-tier character.
Yeah, he's so great.
So it's just me.
And I love when, after you do that, and he's just sort of, singing to himself.
Yeah.
Mopping the floor.
He's so good. He's just.
That's a catchy tune, huh?
Yeah. What did you think about the dual protagonist thing, like switching between them and how their segments are so different from each other?
Yeah. I thought interesting. And then it is dealt with very cleverly.
Yeah.
It's. I thought, is this a gimmick? And then you realise it's absolutely a plot point reason. And it's not until you get to that point when you realise actually what's happened. I went, oh, well done. That's clever.
Yeah.
I think that they are very mechanically very different. They play very differently, and what they require you to do. I don't know, how much I loved, going and doing all of Saga's like pinning stuff on the board. Sometimes I felt like I was literally just
Oh,
throwing
yeah,
stuff at the
yeah.
dartboard.
Me too.
I would have loved like an auto pin of some sort to do that.
Because it feels
lazy.
like almost auto, essentially, so you might as well just do it for me.
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
And again, as the game goes on, it proves to be a very important narrative thing.
Yeah,
not just
tether,
mechanical.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that is like it could have just used perhaps like a little bit more editing.
Yeah.
To like really see
think
like
so.
which are the points that we actually need to put on this board and which are just like we're telling you what you already know.
But that is me splitting hairs because I'm
Yeah.
thinking I still did it loads. I still really enjoyed it.
But I mean, that's something that, you know, that, like I felt that's something I've repeatedly seen, you know, people criticize about it. Like I think that there is some merit there to where it's like it's a great mechanic. There just needs to be a little bit more of a balance there, a little bit less of it.
I don't know if you've spoken about this, but I think the stuff when Alan, there's this part of his story when, you know, you have to change the scene. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's maybe you, as you did speak
the
about
hotel
it, just,
was like one of my favorite parts of the whole game.
just the way, like what I'd love to know the mechanics that went into the making of that, where they go tit 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 tit, bam, and the whole room changes.
It's really great. It works really well.
Just from an engine standpoint, that is just really, really impressive.
Then you throw in like the light also that changes a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
So much layers to it. I love that.
It's so clever, and
Yeah.
they've really worked out ways of streamlining that section. And then there's a bit where you can just watch a 20-minute film in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I did. I stood
watched
there.
it. I
stood
sure
there,
did.
and I just watched it. I loved it.
And, well, but there's, what's nuts, and they did this in Control too, is that like, it's not that just there's a film that you can sit there and watch. It's like, it's physically being projected in the game engine. So it's like if you cross in front of it, your shadow will be there, and then the film will be on the back of your head. It's just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
God, it's good.
I think making it more survival horror was a really good call, actually. I think Alan Wake 1's good. I like Alan Wake 1 too, but I think 2 is just so much better. And I think a lot of it is just like the pressure of resources and stuff like that. Like, I don't think it was like so much pressure for me. I've played a lot of survival horror games though, so it's probably different. But I'm really happy that I was like thinking about like what tools did I want to bring sometimes like that. And some of like the items are really fun, like the flares or whatever. I really like that. You just light one up and throw it on the ground or something like that. You can pop a few guys.
Yeah.
Good amount of shotguns too, so I appreciated that.
Good shotguns.
Good shotguns.
Good feeling shotguns
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I felt the inventory just because of the way that I played it. I did a lot. I'm the kind of guy that does loads of backtracking. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to do all
Yes.
the nursery rhymes. I'm going to do all that stuff. So I sometimes felt like I would just run through sections because I didn't want to fight things. You know, I kind of my survival horror instinct went, I fought these guys before. I don't want to have to do it. You know, initially I'm killing everything
Run
that
by,
I can see. Then I realized because of the fact that it would just use up a lot of ammo, I didn't want to engage in that way.
Yeah. I mostly tend to kill everything. But this definitely had those moments, like especially in the woods around the retirement center and stuff like that. It's like, okay, I don't need to mess with those guys. I think I can get through here
sneak
without
around
worrying
them.
about them.
Really good, like when you're kind of in the Alan Wake overworld, you know, in that New York style section, the delivery of the line where it'll go wake, like the amount of times I'd be scared because you wouldn't see one and then it suddenly would appear.
I really appreciated just seeing Alex Casey also just being Max Payne.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's just Max Payne. You're just Max Payne. And I'm very here for that.
It makes you excited for what they're going to do with Max Payne.
Looking around for all of those echoes.
Yes.
Figure out how to
The
line
echoes
up
were
the
cool.
eclipse.
Yeah, I like those. And the Words of Power I thought were really fun to find too.
Also, it felt like you were customizing your character with the Words of Power because you could get all the Words of Power and you wouldn't have all. you wouldn't
definitely not.
complete the
Yeah,
thing, which
no,
was
not
great.
yet. Yeah.
Definitely.
So make choices.
Yeah. Do you think that, you know, they're obviously said that they're remaking Max Payne. Do you think now, knowing what this is, they're going to roll it back into the Remedy verse? It's going
I'm
to be.
curious as to how much
a great question.
they will or want to do that.
Yeah.
I think
it's,
they will.
It's so strange because that is Rockstar's ownership.
Yeah.
Even though it's really their
You don't
game.
give it back. You
Yeah.
don't give it back to Remedy unless you're going to remedy it. I think Sam Lake is so deep into this. I think
Yeah, he's got a vision for sure.
it's going to be the game, but it's not. It's not
Yeah.
gonna be the game.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll be like a Final Fantasy VII remake situation with that game, almost the remake of it. It'll just be more than you thought originally, or something like that.
Well, we know too much.
I would love if at some point we're like Max Payne goes to bed, and then like you just have some section of like Max Payne 3 in the game.
Oh my god, that'd be so fun.
And then he wakes up and he's like, "That was weird, huh?"
I'd never shave my head.
I don't think enough people talk about how good Max Payne 3 was.
Max Payne 3 is
I
really
think
fun.
Mechanically, I think it's great.
Yeah,
Dude,
there's
yeah,
a lot
so
of great
fun
things
gameplay.
about that game.
Yeah.
And it's one of those games that I played entirely because of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah,
the
great
soundtrack
soundtrack.
is so freaking good.
Yeah, it
like
was.
I wanted to experience that in game. And then, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, this was made by other people. It doesn't
Yeah.
have the same signature on it.
No, it doesn't. It has really good mechanics, gameplay mechanics,
Yeah.
though.
Okay, here's my pitch.
Yes.
Max Payne itself is a comic book that is within the world of Control. So it's done in like a. So the idea of Max Payne, if they were going to put it in the Remedyverse, it would be Max Payne existing as an object of power within the Control world, and so you kind of layer it on top, and you don't. It's not explicit, but the idea that it exists within that, because you've got that dream sequence in Max Payne, if you remember, where like he loses his. It's very annoying. It's a very annoying section of the game that isn't meant to be a platformer, where he's like following the blood trail in the black. Do you ever remember that in Max Payne? Like that dream sequence. I think they're going to do so much with that.
Oh, yeah. They're gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
Good game.
Oh, yeah. Max Payne 1 and 2. 3, all great games. Okay, time for our final game, Darkest Dungeon 2. I've been playing this. I'm bummed that Heber's not here,
Yeah.
because I was going to surprise
Said
him that
so
I've
many
been,
late
I've been
nights.
playing it. Yeah. I've
Have
only
you
played
surpassed him?
What?
Have you surpassed him?
No.
Okay.
I've played like 2 hours of this game. There's
Oh, okay,
no
okay.
way. There's no way. I was just like,
There are
dude,
times that like I do wonder. It's like, man, what is up with this game that like Heber just can't seem to like get past a certain wall?
Blood, it's
It's
so
crazy.
Oh yeah, it's a tough game. He's very far into the game though. He's like 50 hours into the game though, so he's probably fighting some really gnarly stuff. But it's definitely a game where I feel like you have to be okay with defeat frequently.
Right.
You got to be okay with death. You got to be okay with spending time to figure stuff out, because this game has like a lot of mechanics and stuff like that. A lot of systems, like for example, like in combat, it's like turn-based combat, but I'm like so many like effects that are placed on people and like stuff popping up. I'm like, what
Right.
is going on? I'm like looking at
Well, like
everything.
there's a thing too where like you kill somebody, but their body is still on the field, and that kind of thing that you have to
that could
account
affect
for.
positioning.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, a lot of the game is like certain attacks can only attack certain positions. Like there's 4 people on each side. Like one guy, maybe the melee guy or something up front, he can only attack like the first 2 people. But some abilities you can use blood to like shuffle them around or stuff like that. But the enemy can also do that to you. Like if your healer's in the back, maybe they can do something to like make your healer go up front so they're more vulnerable to damage. And there's like crazy things like psychic damage. So if you're in a fight, and enemies can do abilities to you where you have like a psychic meter, and it'll eventually go up. You can do stuff to like help get it down, but if it goes up, there's a chance your character will have a meltdown during combat and just like
Wow.
reduce the morale of the whole group, and they will lose a ton of health. So you're just like, oh my god, please don't have a breakdown. But sometimes they can like recover from it and get health back, but it's more rare. But I didn't play a lot of the first game, so this it's pretty new to me, just like figuring out a lot of the mechanics. Essentially, you have like a party of 4 characters you go out with. You go on a little wagon, very Oregon Trail style, and you go through areas. And as you're going through these areas, you have multiple routes to go to. And it feels like every time, everywhere I go, it's going to be something bad at least. Something bad's going to happen. Whether I'll get in a fight with someone, whether my wagon will get damaged, or I'll get ambushed by something. I never feel safe on the roads. Ever. Except the nice thing is when you're on the roads, you get a little health back as you're going. So it's very nice. And there's often little spots you can go to on the road. Like you can pull over on the side. Some of them are cool. Like there's ones that are lore specific for your classes. So like you could pick who you want to learn more about, like a class, and learn more about their story. There's like I was doing the occultist. And it was her, like, going at school at first, like, learning from it. Then the next one I did was her, like, it was a fight, actual fight with her professor. And it was like, not with like weapons though, like words, and it was like all through psychic damage. So I'm in this fight, like just a fight of words and knowing when to like relieve my stress. And he like took me out. I was like, oh no, I lost that fight. So I'd have to go back all the way again, like a whole nother run to do it. Other one I did was with this other, I forgot what her class is called, but this woman, she, the fight was with her like drunk husband. And he was like yelling at her and it was giving her psychic damage. And I would like wait, I'd have to just survive for a little bit of time. And eventually there was a point where I could poison his alcohol or his wine.
Okay.
So I had to like wait and survive the whole time for him to drink it. And it ended up killing him. And I was like, whoa, this is so weird. This is like narrative progression tied into these like weird battles that I don't expect. I did not expect fights like this at all in the game. I thought I was going to be fighting ghouls and hideous monsters the whole time with swords. But no, I'm like fighting with like people from their past, which is really cool. This game's brutal in combat-wise, though. It's pretty brutal, man. Like, I'm definitely learning more as I'm going, which I'm like, oh, yes, I'm slowly piecing that together. But, dude, sometimes stuff can get taken out fast. And if they die, they're dead. They're gone. It's not like, Bob's dead, like, oh, I'll res him at the barn or something like that, or the inn. No, they're just dead, pretty much, right now. That's where I'm at. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I will not get attached to any of these characters, and any equipment they had on them is gone, too. And all, like, if they leveled up a little bit or on, too, that's gone, too. So I'm like, sick. However, you get progress even if you die. You get these candles you can spend on to like increase or like improve the classes and like that. Unlock a new class. I unlocked this class. I haven't used it yet. It's like a woman. She looks like a Viking almost. She has like a big axe. So I was like, cool, I'm going to try her out. And there's like a lot of classes to unlock. But when people die also on your run, you can recruit often some other people to fill in. But depending how things go, maybe they won't gel with someone in your group like that. And the synergy won't be as good. Because everyone's got quirks, too. You got to look out for all that stuff, too. Yeah. There's a lot of information in this game, and I feel like it's going to take me 10 hours to get through, like, where I feel really confident going through and understanding these moves. But it has been fun of me just kind of experimenting. I'm like, oh, yeah, let me try this move. Oh, I'm dead. Kind of thing like that. Oh, that guy's dead. Okay, cool.
Do you think you'll keep playing it?
Yes, I think it's really fun. Like, it's a challenging game, but I think it has really good hooks of, like, you want to go again kind of thing like that. Because when you die, it doesn't feel like it was for nothing. You still get valuable things out of it, even if you wipe. So I'm like, yes, I want to keep going. I want to keep doing these runs because, like, as you're going through your areas, you can, like, see where you got to get to. And I know there's some really awesome boss I want to fight, like, there. But I'm just, like, struggling to get to them. And it feels so fun. And I just love it. And it looks really good. I think Darkest Dungeon 1 looked pretty good, but I think they've really refined Darkest Dungeons 2 art style visually. It's like Unreal Engine 5, I think now. Way more fluid animations for everybody. It's really, really looking good. And, like, the narrator is super good. Everyone likes the narrator in Bastion, and, like, this guy's, like, that level, dude. Back to the pit. It's, like, super intense, and I've never been so into just getting dumpstered by like enemies so frequently. I'm just like, dude, this is just fun, man. I haven't gotten to the part where Huber's like broken because he can't get past it, but he's like 50 hours in. But like, I want to go on more runs. I just want to like go through this stuff and you like unravel more stories. You make your way through things. I'm just like getting addicted to all this now. Upgrading my wagon so I can like take more hits as it's on the road and you can kind of control it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like always like trying to dodge around. It's like these like flaming piles of whatever.
Yeah, like one time I was riding my wagon just through some area and like a bunch of arrows just like flying and hitting all my stuff. And I was like, what's happening? I'm like under attack all the time. And the enemies I fight are like really cool looking, like hideous monsters, but they're really cool. Like, and they have strategies on their own. Like some of them are like buffing in the back and like making it very hard for you to get to them. So you're like, okay, do I just want to try to take down some of these tank DPS guys so I can even get to them, or if I'm wasting all my time getting hit? Because like you get hit, man, and they put like a debuff on you and bleed. It sucks. But a lot of times when you get down to 0 health, you have essentially one more hit to live. So you can like, maybe the occultist can heal you in time like that. So you can kind of fight back from death almost, but it can just as easily end quickly. But it feels like there's a lot of strategy, and I can't wait to unlock more classes and just kind of see what they feel like. I feel like once I unlock more, I'll start to find my rhythm with who I really like to use.
Yeah.
Because like right now I just have like most of the default guys, like the main guys. The front's like a tank guy. Then I got this bounty hunter guy. He has like a gun that he can shoot people in further back, and a knife. This woman who can throw poison darts at people and also melee, and the occultist who can like throw bombs on people that blind them, so that can like really help you. And she can also heal sometimes. So yeah, stats. I like in games when stats matter a lot, like debuffs and buffs, and they really matter like a lot in this game. So I'm really enjoying it. Can't wait to die more, I guess. But it's been damn good fun. Sadly, only on PC right now, but it'll come to consoles later, I'm sure, like the first game did.
Are you Steam Decking this?
No, I play it just PC. I don't have a Steam Deck, but yeah.
Do you think it'll be good on Steam Deck?
Yeah, probably be fine.
Seems like it would be,
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I
like
personally really
performance
like
heavy
the
or
game
anything.
with a mouse and keyboard, but I think, it'll be totally fine on Steam Deck. It's really awesome. Okay, everybody. It's time for some emails. If you want to write an email, join our $5 and up tier on patreon.com/easyallies. Get early access to this show one day early and easy, and access to the Easy Allies podcast. What is that, 2 or 3 days early?
2 days, yeah. Usually.
2 days early, yeah.
A little bit more than that, I guess. But.
Yep, and you can send in questions to that show as well. All right, interesting question here, first one. This is from Matt Hastings. Greetings, allies. Xbox CFO Tim Stewart said during the Wells Fargo TMT Summit last week that the goal is to make first-party games and Game Pass available on every screen that can play games, and this includes rival consoles. What do you think about this statement? Can you imagine a version of Game Pass on PlayStation or Nintendo consoles? If you can play Xbox games anywhere, why buy an Xbox? Thanks, allies. Looking forward to watching the Game Awards with you. This was an interesting statement because he said this, the CFO, Tim Stewart, then why can't I think of his name? Phil Spencer said, we have no plans for Game Pass on any of these things right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was his
no
exact
plans
statement?
Tim Stewart's statement? I don't have the entire thing, but what they just wrote here. I saw the statement, but he wants essentially every game or Xbox thing to be on screens that can play games.
Here.
And he was
he does.
talking about rival consoles like PlayStation.
Of course he does. He wants to make as much money as possible.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, that's it. You go...
Exactly.
You say that because you go, we want to be the dominating, we want to be the force in video games. That's what you want. Why would you not want that? That's clearly been the Xbox's
They want to
policy.
be on things, definitely. And I believe Phil Spencer said in the past that Game Pass isn't on PlayStation because PlayStation didn't want it. Which I understand totally as PlayStation.
I mean, that when xCloud was first being talked about before they'd even really started rolling it out, like I was convinced that they were going to throw that thing on Switch at some point.
Yes.
But yeah, it hasn't really come to fruition. They haven't really talked about it in those terms. And yeah, there's, kind of like with the issues that they've had with Apple and Google, it is sort of this weird thing. It's like, well, what's in it for that platform holder?
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to put your subscription service on this other platform, why does how much money is that platform holder going to get out of it?
Especially
to make it worthwhile.
Sony and Nintendo have their own subscription things too.
Right. Yeah, and especially if you have games on that subscription that are in their shops, then you're directly competing with them.
I think I don't know about Game Pass right away, but I could see games just like buying games on their consoles maybe a little more. Like maybe Starfield in the future on PlayStation or
they've
something.
They've done a little bit of that with
Yeah, they've done it with like Minecraft and stuff like that, but maybe stuff
Minecraft, Ori, Cuphead, stuff that
maybe
they've,
more stuff though
helped
is what
with.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I would disagree.
What do you think?
I just disagree. I think Xbox are creating an Xbox ecosystem. They have no interest in integrating with other systems. It doesn't make any sense. You don't invest this much money in what you're doing. They are so far in right now. Like you go in and you see. I find the graphics very funny. You see the graphics of all of these games and all these franchises that technically Xbox own. They are trying to manufacture a system where it is the place to go, but it's the easiest place to go. I could never see Starfield going to PlayStation ever. I really, and I mean that. Like I don't think Elder Scrolls is going nowhere near PlayStation.
But then you have the opposite side of that, where it's like they promise Call of Duty to everything that they can, and it's partly because it's like losing out on PlayStation is losing out on too much money.
Too much money, yeah.
Yeah, it is when it comes to that system, because you are actively taking something that does very, very well on PlayStation, you're losing money. But when it goes forward, it's like, no, we are going to manufacture a situation where it forces you eyes on. They're doing this because they want you to use this as the primary platform. Call of Duty is such a unique scenario where it just makes so much money, but they are I would imagine that they are going to find a way to intelligently siphon off all the people who play on PlayStation very, very slowly over that period of time to make it so that Xbox is the destination to play Call of Duty. Xbox is the best way to play Call of Duty. It just has to be. There's going to be zero marketing on PlayStation. It's always going to be front first, Xbox. And then in doing so, mindshare, remember, we are very hooked in. Mindshare is, Xbox is where I get this game. And I don't think marketing can be underplayed in how important it is for people who do not listen to podcasts every day, who do not analyze all of the stuff. The more casual, I buy 3 games a year, Madden, FIFA, and Call of Duty. Like if you market it in such a way that it is an Xbox entity now, that's where we go for this. That's what they're going to do. Microsoft have a huge war chest. We know that it's not an infinite amount of money. We know that, like what they said, Game Pass doesn't make money yet. But it will.
That stuff has been so hard to read. Yeah. In terms of like,
very cagey
where
about
profitability
their
is on that. But yeah,
it's a loss leader anyway. So it's like you want to get people back. And Phil's been brilliantly open, I think, about saying the state that Xbox is in, they are not playing the same game that PlayStation are playing. But yeah, I think. Good luck to them. I'm intrigued to see how this very long game plays out.
I guess that's the thing, Ben, is because they are not playing the same game as PlayStation. They're playing a subscription game now. That's like what their thing is. They want you to subscribe to Game Pass. Yeah. It seems like they don't even care about you really buying their games as much anymore. They just want you to sub up. And I think they just want to eventually get as many people subbed up on any platform as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why, they were there day one with Samsung things,
Yep.
That's why they've had the thing back and forth with the Apple Google Store.
Yep.
That doesn't seem. Sorry, get the maths in my head. It doesn't seem actually a very good idea, and maybe I'm just being very unintelligent. I imagine people in the comments will tell me that. We're at a point now where Netflix have realised that they have reached the maximum amount of people they can reach, and they've realised that a subscription model. The only thing you can do to a subscription model is you increase the price because there's only so many people that can play that.
Right.
So if you have that, the maths would be that you can't keep creating new stuff, and keep it on an existing platform because that costs money. But you're still making the same amount of money every single year. So you have to find ways of making more and more money out of it. And so Game Pass, it's an incredible thing for us as consumers.
Yeah.
But I just think what's the inflection point where you get to where video games are only getting more expensive to make? And it's like, how can you justify a $200 million game being made if you're just going to give it away on Game Pass and you're not really going to necessarily expand? We've figured out what the critical mass of Game Pass is. Is it 30 million subscribers? Is it 50 million subscribers? I suppose that's why they don't want to sell consoles. They want to put it on your TV. They want it to be like, it's on your Samsung TV. Download it now. So it's not like...
Well, you're not even downloading it.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
You're streaming it.
As long as you have an Xbox controller, you just, click on Halo, start playing Halo. You don't have to wait for it.
But again,
that's and that's, I think that's part of what they're trying to get at is that, and say like Genshin Impact, was just gigantic on mobile as well as PC and console. It's like they just see all these people out there that will never be convinced to buy an Xbox whatsoever. And they want those people in their ecosystem.
Do you think also, these games that they've bought, Call of Duty, Halo, they've always owned. Famously, they're twitchy things, and the idea that they shouldn't really be
Mixer,
you can't. No, I'm saying they require the ability to not have any lag. So suddenly you can't. If you're going to be like, you can stream Call of Duty. Who's going to be streaming? Certainly not. The best players are going to be streaming Call of Duty.
The best players, no, but there's a lot of people that are just not that concerned about it, and obviously, some of the stuff that I've seen is like closed door demos with dedicated internet lines or whatever. But it's like even when the fidelity drops, like the lag time would really only be noticeable to like the elite players. You know, like it really feels like you're playing the thing that's hooked up to a box anyways.
It's very interesting.
Yes, it is very
It's
interesting.
I'm just like, we could talk for ages about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what an interesting thing.
Yeah, in terms of like the appeal to have an Xbox, I think maybe if Game Pass comes to other platforms, like let's say PlayStation, Nintendo, it might be a more curated amount of things, because I don't know if Sony and Nintendo would want to give up potential sales of those games on their platform.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like the hardest
Yeah.
thing for them to
Yeah,
try to
exactly.
get onto a rival console. It's just almost impossible.
Yeah.
It makes you think Stadia was so ahead of its time. It was
Oh,
like,
it was,
oh my
yeah.
God.
I mean, but you know, I have basically one choice of internet provider. You know, it's like they just keep ratcheting up the money.
Yeah.
And I can't switch over to the better service because they're just not going to my building.
I think I read somewhere that Baldur's Gate 3 was originally a Stadia exclusive.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, that's where they revealed.
That's
crazy.
wild.
That's wild.
I'm happy that didn't happen. I didn't want to have to play that on Stadia. Damian, what do you think, man, about all this?
Well, first, sorry, I was looking up some stuff. Since 2022, Phil Spencer has been like stressing that Game Pass is profitable and sustainable.
Yeah.
So the reason he said it, because like I just read something like yesterday where this debate came up again, and it seems to be confusing because a lot of places will like lead you to believe they're not. But yeah, Phil Spencer has the receipts that Game Pass and Xbox as a platform is profitable.
But let's not forget that they famously avoid giving away their numbers. So that's why
true.
that's why this stuff is murky. It's like they'll say it's profitable, but they won't really show you the numbers.
They
Yeah.
provided they had to provide stuff.
Yeah.
They provided something for Wall Street Journal in 2022, and there are slides that show like numbers of like dollar signs, but not like numbers of subscribers or anything like that. It just shows like revenues and for calendar years and stuff like that, and that's more for Xbox than Game Pass. So they don't really provide the Game Pass numbers, as you said. There's also, I'm not going to get into it, but like they apparently Spencer was on Giant Bomb's podcast and gave a whole explanation about like why they think Game Pass is going to continue to grow. And the one point I think that's salient is they talked about like Starfield and how they want people to be able to play Starfield on many different like platforms and screens as possible. Yeah. And they do, like that was their literal quote, because you asked about that, Ben. The actual quote he gave about what we started this, he said it's a bit of quoting Tim Stewart. It's a bit of a change of strategy, not announcing anything broadly here, but our mission is to bring our first-party experiences and our subscription services to every screen that can play games. That means smart TVs, that means mobile devices, that means what we would have thought of as competitors in the past, like PlayStation and Nintendo.
Wow.
So I think it's literally just like it is Game Pass. I don't think you'll ever be able to like piecemeal buy any kind of like Xbox game on any Nintendo or PlayStation, but as a service, I think they're like they were trying to get it on there. Now I still think it's highly unlikely it'll get onto either platform, but they definitely were trying to. That was what we thought they were doing with like everything you talked about earlier. Blood pointing at all the game releases like Ori, Cuphead, Minecraft, like having to make an Xbox account on Nintendo to play those things. We thought this was like the beginning of a goodwill system where maybe Nintendo gets some releases from Microsoft, maybe some exclusivity in exchange for getting their foot in the door on the Switch ecosystem with Game Pass or xCloud. And I wouldn't say never to that, but I think it's more unlikely now than it probably was then. I do think the best place, you were talking about like people who only buy a few games a year, the people who would not care about the small difference in latency on their screen or their connection for playing Call of Duty. Those people are probably going to be tapped through smart TVs and mobile devices. Yeah. I understand there's they're probably looking at Switch and like, dang, that's a lot of hybrid devices that were potentially mobile, but most people who probably have a Switch probably also have a mobile phone. So I think mobile phone and smart TV is where they're really banking on, and I think they're leaving the door open for Nintendo, PlayStation, or any other competitors is like, hey, if you're willing to come to us with a deal or negotiate, we would be willing to work something out. This is good business practice, in my opinion. But I see it as, I'm with you. I think that's very unlikely that they're going to go onto those platforms anytime soon. And yeah, I think with the part, your point about like Netflix, Netflix has like gone way closer to saturation because, you know, they've been around longer. I think Game Pass still has that room to grow. I do think eventually they will hit the same point where it's like, what do you do? Either raise prices or, but that's like, they'll cross that bridge when they get there, I feel like. Because the way Phil talks about like Starfield, I feel like they think as long as you just secure big releases on Game Pass, people will continue to pay for it. But that's great for that type of sustainability. But the dreaded word shareholders and stuff, when profits aren't going up each quarter, it's like, then what do you do? Does Starfield do you have to like increase that, or, you know, is there another way they increase revenue through other types of monetization with Game Pass that we haven't, none of us have thought of, because then we'd be working there.
Let's not forget 2023's biggest trend that Starfield took advantage of. Even though it's on Game Pass, they sold a ton by giving people a few days early access. So it still sold well, despite being on Game Pass. It still had a crazy amount of sales.
So Phil, didn't he say like 12 million players have played that game? That's a successful video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's done well.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen so much of the early access, price hike kind of thing for the special editions.
Yep.
They will keep doing that for sure.
All right, Ray Aldier wrote in, "Hi, allies and Ben. Since
Hello.
I'm very excited to see Ben play D&D in Natural 6, and the allies got me into the game in the first place, I have an RPG character creation question for you. What are the first or most important elements for you when it comes to making a character, either for tabletop or video games? Do you gravitate towards certain fighting styles or looks based on yourself or another character you like? Think up a backstory and just dive right in and see what happens. Thanks, love, and respect."
Any character you create is like, how do you, like, the ultimate role-playing thing is how do you want to play mechanically? Because each class is just going to significantly change the way in which you engage with whatever it is that you're doing. That's the first thing I always think about is like, what are the ways in which I want to interact with this world and make a difference to the world around me? And you're like, having played Elden Ring, for instance, I was like, I am going to be flinging pebble at people for 30 hours before I get any good spells, but I'm going to have a great time doing it. I want to be squishy. I want to nearly feel like I'm going to die, and I want to just do things from a distance. And I loved playing that game. And that's the choice. And then I love to build the character on top of that, build the story as to why they would choose to do that. And then you go, how would that character look in a certain way? How would they have engaged with the world? How would their mechanics have informed the way that they look? And then I just put my name through whatever generator there is. And then, see how it goes. But that, I think it's like, what kind of fun do you want to have?
Yeah.
That's the great thing about RPGs is you can literally be whoever you want.
Yeah, with like tabletop games over the years, I just wanted to be an idiot usually. Like my characters to be dumb so I could just goof around. Like, not too goofy, but I think playing a dumb character is really fun for me all the time. RPGs, like, it depends on the game. Like a Souls game, like, I'm always going strength build first, no matter what. Every run through, I'm getting the biggest, heaviest weapon I can find and swinging that puppy around. But yeah, it's also like for other games, like, yeah, what do I want to play like?
Yeah, and like I when it came to Natural 6 and when we were delving into Reliquia, like Radiant, I really wanted to have access to all of these spells. I liked the idea that I could have access to absolutely every spell, which is completely daunting. But I really wanted to throw myself into that, and that's been really, really fun.
Yeah.
Of like using spells in different ways that I didn't expect and combining them with skills that like the rest of the team have. It's really, really fun. Whenever I said that I'm a wizard, people go, "Ooh, you're squishy."
Yeah.
But I quite like that.
Yeah.
I think also more fun. Don't make your character super powerful in all areas. It's not interesting.
Sure, yeah.
Give it a sense of peril. Like, have at least one weakness.
Yeah.
Give yourself something to be scared of. And that's really, really fun. Just don't be like 99 stats on everything. That's not fun.
Do you have grease?
Do I have grease?
The spell grease?
No, I don't have the spell.
You should get spell grease. We use that a lot.
I do have a spell. I do have a spell called Chromatic Orb, and I used it in a practice game that we were doing, and I rolled a nat 20, and it meant that I was critting, and I had the opportunity to do, I think, some just ungodly amount of damage.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing 6 damage because I rolled so badly. And it was this really stupid thing where I was going, all right, Ben's absolutely nailed it. And it was like, one. And I was like, I love that. I love the stupidity of like the opportunity to really be a badass and destroy this thing. And it's just, nope, absolutely fluffed it completely.
Bad rolls. What about you, Blood? What do you like to do with a character?
Yeah, it's so weird because, well, for one, like I haven't really gotten to the tabletop RPG kind of stuff, so it's a different thing. But like when you talk about like a character creator in a game, like when you're just first thrown at it, like so many times, like I feel like my reactions are super specific and particular to that game. Like there are games where I will like try to make somebody that looks like myself, and then there are other games where I just make somebody that's fully completely different than me, and like I don't go full freak or anything like that. But it is like a lot of those things where it's like playing with clay or putty or something, and it's just like, all right, let me change this thing, and then let me change that thing, and then go back and like, okay, change the eyes again, and then like eventually I just wind up with what I wind up with, just kind of like hands-on organically, you know, and it's like sometimes super pale skin, sometimes super dark skin, somebody, you know, height, weight, like all of that stuff just sort of changes based on like, I don't know, just what I'm feeling, what feedback I'm getting out of that creator, I think.
Yeah.
We did a stream, a Natural Six stream that has been lost to the annals of time, in which we use something called Hero Forge. It's really, really amazing. You can kind of create your characters and what they look like, and then you can pay money and get them printed out as little miniatures.
Oh, that's cool.
And we spent an entire evening, like 6 hours, playing Hero Forge. And the way that we designed the character was we rolled a dice every single time, and we allocated a particular number to the roll of the dice, and so we let everything up to chance. And it was like really fun. Obviously, we had preferences in how we wanted the character to look: height, weight, look, beard, no beard. But we just let the dice do all the talking, and that was a really fun way of creating it. So yeah, just whatever's your preference, really.
Yeah. What about you, Damiani? I know you like the Avatar. Avatar core.
I'll generally just make like a character based on something I'm watching on like a show or a movie.
Oh, okay.
It's like kind of like fun. So I remember earlier memories of like seeing things in like MMO. Any game you could create a character. All the videos will always be of people making like Sasuke or Naruto or like or calling their character like Naruto or Sasuke and is running and like just shattering the immersion and like. At some point, I'm just like, you know what, whatever. This is like, I'm just, I'll embrace this. This is hilarious to do. But then it's fun because like you try and actually like bring up, the artwork images, the concept art, and try and actually make the character look close. And it's like, it's kind of like a game in of itself, which is kind of fun. But obviously that's not like, for RP reasons. And unfortunately, to maybe the satisfaction of a lot of people out there, I don't really make my character in terms of like thinking about like RP reasons, because like generally in games that have create a character, that's not what I'm even really into. Even if I'm into the story, it's like I care about what's going on in the world around me and the characters. It's like I don't care too much about my own character story unless it's a written. I like written characters. And I like. We've gone through this already. Like this is you said like it was like a eureka moment where you understand like I don't like CRPGs and stuff like that. It's like, well, there you go. But also I just isn't the more in depth, more complex a character creator gets, like the more I'm like, that's great for other people. I hate this. I'm like, where's the randomizer button? Like, I just want what looks okay to me. I keep hitting random. Looks good. That looks good. We're going. Here we're going with that because at the end of the day, I mean, I value other things in a game, and even when it comes to narrative, it's less about. I care more about the choice in terms of how I'm going to play the game versus how that might impact the narrative and or my character's like development. It's like I'm less interested in that at the end of the day. So I do like more structured narratives, and I don't like trying to like fit my character into those narratives. I'd rather just be told that story and enjoy it.
For sure. All right, this is from Papa Biscuit. Greetings, Ben and allies. Questions for Ben. Were you a huge Final Fantasy fan before accepting the role of Clive? What were some of your biggest challenges voicing a video game character? Did it take you a long time to work on your battle grunts and battle cries?
So, yes, I was a fan. That's relatively well documented. But when it comes to the making of it, I don't know how much I've spoken about this, but I have obviously played a lot of video games, but I was playing Jedi Fallen Order at the time. I was playing Dragon Quest. I remember like when I was doing it, Dragon Quest 11, Control, and also Horizon.
Yeah,
Forbidden
Zero Dawn.
West. Forbidden West actually, like later on, and I all of those had a huge influence on the voicing of Clive, because those I would study what those performers were doing, particularly Cameron Monaghan. Like, if he's at the Game Awards on Thursday, I'd love to meet him, because he probably has no idea how much Cal Kestis actually had a huge influence on the way in which I would have in Clive interacting with the world, because I'm running around with the dog, you're running around with he has BD1, and I'd look at the way that he would talk to that character and use it, and not copy it, but repurpose it in a way that felt very much true to Final Fantasy. And I think you've got to look at the ways in which things that work, things you think don't work. And Ashley Birch is an absolute pro in Horizon at talking to herself, and she talks to herself a lot, but she does it brilliantly. I think she's an absolute master of her craft when it comes to that, because it's the which way should I go? And that's a weird thing. Human beings don't do that. So you've got to find a way of performing something that is essentially telling a player how to move around the world, but do it convincingly. In Horizon Forbidden West, there is a quest in which you have to redirect some water to a town, and you're flipping some stuff around. And Ashley Birch's line, once you've done it correctly, is "sounds like the water's changed direction."
Right.
And that's a stupid line. That's a silly line. Sounds like the water's changed direction. That's a weird thing. But she delivers it in such a way that you absolutely believe that there is nothing abnormal about hearing that water has changed direction. And it's kind of mechanically, it's a way of just telling you that that's what the next step is. You've completed something. And she is expert at it. And so, yeah, I would be playing games at the time and allow other people's performances to guide me through certain sections that we were doing. Obviously, you bring loads of yourself to it, but mechanically, knowing how video games work and what it is that you are required to do in that moment, yeah, I was very fortunate to kind of like learn from games that I was playing at the time.
Great. Very good. All right, this is from Koshi Mitsu. Hello, allies and Ben. How do you feel about full series playthroughs? I know it's difficult with all the new games you need to play for work, but if time was not an issue, what series would you like to play from front to back?
Oh, wow.
This could be from a series you never played or one you're already familiar with. After bouncing off Yakuza 0 last year, I finally got back to it and have been going through all the mainline games this year. I'm now on Yakuza Like a Dragon, having an amazing time. Can't wait for Infinite Wealth next year, and I'm also excited to try and fit in Ishin and Gaiden. Love and respect, Koshimitsu. I got one right off the bat. It's the Trails Cold
I was going to say
series.
exactly that.
Yeah. I've been waiting. Like, dude, people have been like begging me to play these games for years.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I will someday.
Yeah. I have Cam Hawkins. Hello, Cam, if you're watching this. Is always like, you got to play the Trails series.
Yeah.
And
You know he's here tomorrow, right?
Is he? Yeah. Oh, amazing. And he'll probably talk about it then. Like, just like that series.
Yeah.
How many are there of them, though?
I'm scared to
There's a
ask.
lot.
So you got to do it, because I was talking to him about it. He was like, no, they are all linked. They're all like
Yeah,
narratively
that's the thing,
linked.
yeah.
So I don't want to jump in.
No,
just
you
halfway
can't.
Through.
Yeah, I wouldn't jump in. Just so I'm aware.
Yeah, I think you can jump in because I've been successful at it. But the one I would like to do is the East series,
Oh, yeah.
which like I had heard of those games all the way back from Nintendo Power. You know, like I would see them in the RPG sections of that magazine. I never really played them back then. And it was not until East 9 that I actually like played one of those games, played all the way through it, and then right around that, like this sort of the same time, or maybe like a little bit before that, is when we got the TurboGrafx Mini.
Oh yeah.
And and for that I had played a little bit of East 1 and 2 that was on that, and so it was like, yeah, like I could, I could see myself just like go through this whole RPG series, but obviously
there's a lot,
huge chunk of time there.
Yeah, there's a lot. Damiani, what about you, dude?
I mean, just because of the passion that you guys talk about it, and I know it was brought up in the question, but I mean, I never played, except for the mini games. In some of them, I've never played any of the Yakuza like a Dragon games. So,
yeah.
And just seeing people around me playing them, and I'm like, yeah, but they're so long, right? And there's so many of them now. Like, I feel like I should have got on when they started, like the first few started coming out over here again. I was like, I should have got on that, but no. Like I feel like as time goes on, it just like looks more and more daunting. I'm just like, oh no, like how many of those? I mean, Trails obviously like way more daunting, but I feel like Yakuza is like right next to it, and at this point, and like
you can hop into maybe
7.
Yeah, 7 probably.
I did. I hopped in at 7, and nothing was lost on me. And it has one of the best mini game 40-hour plunge experiences of like management sim that you can ask for.
Yeah,
it's fun
because it's like all new characters, like a new cast and stuff. So you can hop into that one. That's like if you're not going to go through 0 up to that point, then just start there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, our final question is from Brandon K. Gann. Hello, everyone. This week in the world of college football, there has been a quite heated debate over what 4 teams are best for which 4 are most deserving to win, or who should win in the playoff bracket. Damiani's pumped. But this week having the Game Awards, it had me thinking for a while, and thus wanted to ask you, in video games, do you think there are games either presently or in the past that have ever deserved to win an award? While sports are fundamentally completely different from the video games where deserving is a more of a viable term and talking point. I find the concept of a game deserving to win something to be equal points interesting and funny, and wanted to know your thoughts, if you have any on this topic. Thanks for taking the submission. If you do, stay easy, fellow allies. Damian, is there some football stuff going on right now?
Yeah, do you need the analogy summed up real quick for you to understand?
Quick.
Yes, please.
So there's a college football, American college football. There's a playoff at the end of the season where the 4 teams get to play each other, but they're selected by a committee. It used to be the top 2 teams. Only 2 teams got to play for the championship, and that was selected by a bunch of computers and people, and no one liked that system because they would always argue someone got left out. Now it's 4 teams, and there were clearly 6 teams that were all legitimately had a claim to be in the playoff. So 2 were left out. One of them is especially egregious. A team, so there's the conferences, like think of the different leagues. Just think that like there's like 5 conferences, basically Power 5 conferences, and then all the independents. And in your conference, you play all your teams or some of them, and then you have a conference championship game. And then the winner of that generally has like the best shot at making the playoff in the current format. So a team, Florida State, went undefeated, won their conference championship game, but because their star quarterback got injured, a season-ending injury a few games ago, people thought they weren't playing very well and were worried about the hypothetical. One of the things that the committee is allowed to judge on is based on how well they think you're going to perform, and they can factor injuries are allowed to be factored in. So despite the track record and that it's a team sport, because their quarterback went down, their star quarterback, they got bumped out despite going one of only 3 undefeated teams to win their conferences like that. They gave it to, their spot was taken by Alabama. And that's because Alabama is part of a conference called the SEC, which is considered like the powerhouse best conference. and there's a whole other bunch of stuff associated with that. But I'll end it there by saying, basically, a team with 1 loss got in over a team with no losses, undefeated throughout the season. And it comes down to preference and how people think will go. And right now, like, Florida is on fire right now. Like, their governor and all their senators are threatening to sue and all this crazy nonsense. And it just shows that like the format wasn't perfect, but also, yes, it also forced people to make a hard decision. Like to bring this back to gaming, like when we do our own end of the year Game of the Year awards, even we can only pick 10, and like Isla's like, let's bump it up 1 more and include everyone. And it's like, that's the point. We have to like make a hard decision. We have to make a cut. And yes, that's part of that's the name of the game sometimes, because otherwise they become less meaningful if you just allow everyone to be a part of it. There's got to be stakes, as Hubert likes to say. And to use my time to answer the question real quick, when game trailers did not give Xenoblade Chronicles best soundtrack of the year back in the day, that was one of the biggest snubs, the biggest travesties. It was like something I should have spoken up more. And the day doesn't go by that I don't like feel the pain and agony of letting that slide by.
Damn. Yeah, I guess like just games either presently or in the past that have ever deserved to win an award and what we think about it. I don't know about like deserving. Like
it's so much. It's so much harder because it's like, yeah, and this is like a performance, and like you'd like actually beat in all of these different situations. Yeah, like that guy got by you.
Yeah,
and he got to the goal. It's a different situation. Then it's like, okay, well, is this fighting game better than this RPG?
Awards are silly.
Yeah.
Let's all agree. Awards are absolutely ridiculous. And the idea that you think you can...
This mixture of things that are measurable, like when you talk about animation, right? Like there's a certain amount of like recognition of how good that animation is and things that people have never done before or whatever. But then you take something that's trying to make a real person versus somebody who's trying to make a cartoon person.
Yeah. Also, I think people conflate 2 words, which is what's best and what's favourite. And I think actually the word is favourite, because also like we want to create some sort of empirical truth when it comes to the quality of games. We want to say objectively this is the best. The idea of objectivity in the world is absolute nonsense, absolute rubbish. Sorry, I wanted to swear. I won't. It's completely stupid because you can agree that someone else likes something doesn't mean you have to like it.
right.
And, I think that we want to create some sort of order in the chaos that is the world of kind of artistic expression in which we exist. But video games, more than film and TV, rely a lot on the system of Metacritic as well, which, again, is a silly, silly system because it's just an aggregation of people's opinions. It's kind of just like what you like. Do you know what I mean? Like winning award, it's like the fact that however many Game of the Year award things. You're going to have your Game of the Year award ceremonies. Giant Bomb are going to have theirs. Everyone's going to have, IGN, whatever. They're all going to have their own opinions on stuff. And it's just an aggregation of opinions. It doesn't mean empirically anything.
Yeah.
And I think, there's probably so many games that probably should have won awards to some people.
Yeah, to some people, yeah. There's always going to be that case. You can't please everybody with awards.
And also, like, if someone wins an award or if a game wins an award, it doesn't invalidate the quality of the other games that were also up for it.
Yeah.
It's not like suddenly like this is them better than that. It just won it in that particular competition. It wasn't. It was judged to be more favourable, not better, in that particular category. Sorry, I'm not. I feel like I'm having a go at the question.
No,
but
go.
I think
go.
it's we forget maybe that we're not saying that something is bad because something is good. We're just saying that in this particular scenario that we have created, people have decided to go, this is the one that had the greater aggregation to everything else. Like what you like. It's all good.
And Chained Echoes and Midnight Suns will just be forgotten.
Oh, by the way, I want to give...
Because they came out after the jump, but not in the period anyone was looking at.
I want to give a shout-out to something at PAX I saw this year that I thought was super exciting. It's a game called Ulterium Shift.
Oh, right, yeah.
Have you seen that before?
I know the name. I can't picture it in my head.
It's a good-looking game. I met the creator, and I was just pottering around PAX in between, like, having to do some stuff. And I saw this game, and I just stopped, and I went, wow-wee. that's a good looking game. And it's really early days, like it's like early access on Steam, but it kind of has that classic Chrono Trigger kind of vibe to it, and like they're using kind of some 3D, moving around. If you got anyone go and look at the trailer, it's a really, really beautiful looking video game, and I really want to, shout out to the team and say that looks really good, because Chained Echoes for me is one of the best games of the year. It's just it's brilliant. And it's a great refined. People talk about like RPGs that seem overstuffed. Chained Echoes is not. It's a refined game that pushes you forward. Like it's properly good. So Ulterium Shift, have a look at it. I think it looks great.
Nice.
Well, we nominated it for our GOTY.
Yeah.
We got it in there.
Brad got it covered.
Yeah.
Chained Echoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our awards.
Yeah.
Is it your game of the year?
Was it my game of the year last year? No, Elden Ring was, but it was in my tops.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it might have made our final 10.
It did.
Yeah.
Because I was like, dude, this game.
Yeah.
I was hyping it up.
I think you guys might have been the reason actually why I ended up playing it. I think maybe I was listening to you guys talking.
Go
about
Brad.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yay. I was like, please play this
Yeah, I think
game
it was.
before it gets forgotten. All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Frame Trap. Another good one in the books. Feeling good. Damiani, thanks for remoting in. Always a pleasure to see you. Ben, thanks for coming in also.
Thank you.
Heck
I
yeah.
flew in
Thank you.
specifically for this. I can now leave Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
Gonna go fly back,
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could check Ben out at the Game Awards. He's nominated. Hopefully we see him hit that stage.
Yeah.
Would love to see that.
But legally, not right.
Legally,
Yeah.
if he wins, yes, as he should. Not yelling about GTA 6 or something.
Yeah, I won't do any of that. No, I'm very nervous to go. I think because it's just a huge event that I've watched online all the time.
Right.
Like it's mad to think that a year ago it was the Revenge. It was the Final Fantasy 16 Revenge trailer that closed out the Game Awards, and I stayed up until 5 a.m. watching it because I knew they were going to release it.
Yeah.
So it's weird to think that I'm actually going to be there in person.
Yeah.
And see the old gods of Asgard.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna
what
be
I'm
sick.
excited about.
That's gonna be awesome.
Popped off.
Blood, you'll also be there.
Yeah.
So if you're there, make sure to say hi to Blood.
Yeah. You'll be able to see
agree.
the arm under Gonzo.
Yeah.
Really? Is that you? Fantastic.
Yeah, last year an animal, like where you could see like the puppeteers underneath.
Oh.
Like, if you're just sitting in the crowd.
Oh. I thought you were like, that was me, actually. I was like,
No,
what?
no.
I was like, you were good.
No, I'm just saying
Muppets?
if you're sitting in the crowd, you
Oh,
can see
okay,
all the
okay.
crazy
I was
behind
like,
the scenes
oh
Muppet
my
stuff.
God.
Yeah.
You should have lied to me and said yes. I would have believed you. Damn. That's awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks, everyone, for being here on the panel. I appreciate it. And we will see you next episode. Take care and goodbye.